Chapter 4:16. F***ck, you can't be serious. Lin Rei was speechless when he heard the little dragon say such discouraging words. At the very least, the little dragon had said that he couldn't diminish his prestige, but now, however, Lin Rei was very certain of the little dragon's knowledge. Even though the little dragon had cheated him a few times before, most of what the little dragon said was true. Lin Rei was basically certain of what the little dragon said just now. Hehe, if you don't believe me, then so be it. Even a saint wouldn't dare to say that he could catch a spacetime beast as a mount, yet you boast so shamelessly. However, it's good that you have such an idea. As the master of my little dragon, not to mention a small spacetime beast, even a connate demon god wouldn't be an exaggeration. Lin Rei originally thought that the little dragon was going to say something sarcastic, but he didn't expect the little dragon's words to make him happy. Hehe, at least you have a conscience. However, although I have such an idea now, it still depends on how my cultivation goes in the future. After sighing, Lin Rei didn't say anything else and continued walking forward. Lu Ying followed behind him. Although he had a bellyful of questions, he never asked them. Boom, 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 boom. At this moment, the sound of footsteps resounded through the sky. It was very similar to the sound of troops marching on planet Aqua Blue, but this sound was many times louder than that sound. At the same time, everyone's cultivation was so dazzling and shocking. A group of cultivators walked through the sky in waves. Everyone's faces were filled with seriousness. At the same time, the weapons in their hands were extremely bright, as if they were preparing to drink blood. All of you, put in more effort. Our destination is the heavenly Xuanzong Sect. Once we're there, wait for orders and prepare to kill. No one from the Xuanzong Sect can be spared. All of you, listen carefully. Suddenly, a clear voice sounded. The voice was filled with holiness, as if it was a deity. After everyone heard it, they all stopped and shouted at it. All disciples of the Sword Sect obey. All disciples of the Karakoram Immortal Sect obey. All disciples of the Qiankuan Sect obey. All soldiers of the Outyan Empire obey. All disciples of the Bai family obey. All disciples of the Huangpu family obey. All soldiers of the Kueishui Empire obey. We, soldiers of the Howling Skies Empire, obey. All disciples of the Dongfang family obey. At this moment, all the families, empires, and sects announced their names. This was something that had never happened before in the immortal world. Not only that, even the disciples of the small families and sects gathered here. One reason was to watch the show, and the other was to pick up the scraps. Wherever these people went, birds and beasts would scatter. Even the natives of the immortal world would close their doors. They couldn't wait to escape from this place so that they wouldn't be implicated. Ha ha ha, good. You're all good men. After this is over, I'll definitely reward you. At this moment, all the patriarchs, emperors, and sect masters who had brought their people here were looking at their disciples with smiles on their faces. However, although they looked calm, they weren't. At this moment, they were also secretly cheering. None of them were willing to submit to anyone. However, they were hiding in the dark. On the surface, everyone was very friendly. Of course, other than these people, the most eye-catching ones were the Formation Emperor Zhu Tiantong and his disciples. They were all experts in breaking formations. This time, everyone was counting on them. However, the location of the Heaven Vault sect was clearly visible not far in front of the army. Alas! It seems that the Xuanzong sect is doomed this time. I didn't expect that the rising star would fall so soon. What a pity, what a pity. Haha, who says so? But they can't be blamed. Who asked them to be so ostentatious in their celebration? If they had said it well, it wouldn't have leaked out. But they, alas. Forget it. We're not part of the Xuanzong sect. It has nothing to do with us. Besides, the leader of the Xuanzong sect has disappeared. The Xuanzong sect can't do anything at all. At this moment, below the ground, the people from the various forces were looking at the chaotic scene in the sky. Their cultivations were off the charts. Their hearts were filled with shock, but at the same time, they were filled with yearning. However, when they talked about the Xian sect, everyone had a look of pity on their faces. However, this was very clear to the people of the Xuanzong sect. When they leaped over the east, they had already noticed it. At the same time, the moment they noticed it, Jean Ling brought her son to the front of the crowd. Even if they died, they would die first because they had to ensure the loss of the entire Xuanzong sect. Although the cultivation of the two of them was insignificant, this was her husband's sect after all. All of you, protect the sect. Don't act rashly. This formation was set up by the sect leader. It must be able to block their formation. We must believe that they can't break through the formation. At this moment, Jean Ling and Jean En, who were standing at the forefront of the sect, turned around and spoke confidently to the tens of thousands of people behind them. However, they knew that although this formation was set up by Lin Rei, the number of people on the other side was not large. Whether it was 100,000 or 200,000 people, for such a large number of people, the formation in front of them to protect the sect was useless. As for whether or not it could protect the sect, even Jean Ling couldn't guarantee it. The reason why she said this was to let them gauge the morale. Yes, we swear to protect the sect with our lives. As soon as these words were said, everyone's eyes were filled with the light of death. It was as if they could already see their own end. All of this had happened so quickly, and Linley was just as relaxed as he was now. Whoa. Just as Linley thought that he would be able to return to planet Aqua Blue in one piece, an unexpected foe suddenly appeared. Suddenly, a wolf-like roar that was similar to the roar of a dragon could be heard. Linley's expression immediately changed. He had been chatting and laughing with Linley, but upon hearing the roar of the beast, his face changed. A grave look appeared on his face. Oh no, something that I didn't want to come is coming secretly. How unlucky. Lin Rei felt that something was wrong. After hearing the little dragon's words, he knew that the thing that the little dragon didn't want to see was the spacetime beast that the two of them had talked about earlier. Their eyes met. The little dragon knew what was on Lin Rei's mind and nodded at each other, indicating that Lin Rei's idea was right. Hiss. Lin Rei sucked in a breath of cold air, trying to calm himself down as much as possible. However, as time passed, Lin Rei found that he didn't know how to calm down at all. Damn, little dragon, didn't you say that if we don't make any noise, that thing won't wake up? What's the situation now? Tell me. At this moment, Lin Rei's words were incomparable. He didn't know how to speak properly. The spacetime beast was not an immortal emperor or immortal venerable demon beast. It was an existence that even saints were afraid of. Okay. Don't tell me first. Let me think. There must be a way, there must be. Boom. Suddenly, a sense of danger gradually became clear. The pressure also approached. Immediately, Lin Rei's back was drenched in cold sweat. Damn, little dragon, are you done yet? That thing is coming. Lin Rei, who was stepping on the void, was filled with helplessness. At this moment, he wished that he couldn't step on the void and just fall down from here. If he died like this, it would be the end of all his troubles. I know. I'm checking. Be patient. The little dragon had known Lin Rei's impatient character for a day or two. Therefore, when Lin Rei urged him, the little dragon faced it with a calm smile. For a moment, no matter how angry Lin Rei was, he was helpless when he saw the little dragon's expression that made him want to cry. Ding dong. Danger is coming. Use 2 lottery chances in exchange for 1 chance to escape. Ding dong. Time limit, 3 seconds, 1, 2. 3, I promise, I promise. Hurry up and exchange for me. I want to leave this place immediately. Just when Lin Rei was helpless, the system's electronic synthesis business sounded. But at this moment, the sound was so pleasant and not harsh at all. Listening to the system's transaction, Lin Rei was very hesitant. But at the last second, when the system said it, Lin Rei agreed. In the end, his emotions won over his rationality. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for successfully exchanging. Ding ding, host. Although I said to escape, I didn't say to leave immediately. As soon as the system said this, Lin Rei's anger rose to a new level. It made Lin Rei have the urge to go up and tear him apart. F***ck, you can't say so much. You even used 2 of my lottery chances. Tell me, are you? Ding dong, please be quiet, host. Although I said that I don't have a way to make you come over, I never said that I can't hide your body and all your vitality. This kind of concealment will make it impossible for anyone in this world to sense your existence. Who? Lin Rei exhaled in one breath. In an instant, his nervous heart relaxed. The anger from before disappeared. However, Lin Rei really felt that the system had learned bad things from the little dragon. Okay, hurry up and do it. Feeling that the dangerous atmosphere was approaching, Lin Rei had to leave quickly. Otherwise, not to mention going back, he was afraid that there would be nothing left of him. However, at this time, Lin Rei felt that his strength as an immortal emperor was still very weak. Ding dong, okay, it's done. What? Done? After hearing the system's playful words, he was suspicious for a moment. However, he immediately confirmed the system's meaning. Just when Lin Rei was questioning the system, a huge figure appeared in front of him. It was a huge figure, but it looked very domineering. Hee, boy, look carefully. This is the space-time beast. Chapter 4:17. It was so close. At this moment, the space-time beasts were so close to him. Lin Rei was shocked. Lin Rei was even more certain that when he became powerful in the future, he would capture a few space-time beasts to guard the gate of the sect. Moreover, Lin Rei had a great idea. He would try to capture a few couples of space-time beasts. As long as they could reproduce, there would be many space-time beasts in the sect. The most important thing was that they could be trained from young. The little dragon saw Lin Rei's bold fantasy. At the same time, Lin Rei's ignorance gave him a headache. However, on second thought, it was not impossible. That's enough, kid. Keep the saliva from your mouth. We have to leave quickly. There is a limit to this safety zone. It will disappear soon. At that time, you will really have no way out. Linley, who was still immersed in all kinds of fantasies, heard Xiaolong's reminder and his body shook. He instantly came back to his senses and fled in the direction Xiaolong had pointed. He didn't want Xiaolong's words to be true and he had already disappeared safely. The consequences of that were unimaginable. He disappeared in front of the space-time beasts and fled in the direction of the aqua-blue planet. Fellow members of the Xuanzong sect, if you know what's good for you, you'd better open the gate and let us in. Otherwise, your sect will be destroyed. At this moment, the entrance to the sky vault was crowded with people. Hundreds of thousands of people were standing in front of the sky vault's entrance. Their faces were filled with murderous intent, as if their weapons had been hungry for a long time. If it weren't for the array in front of them, they would have rushed forward and killed. The person who shouted at the Xuanzong sect was recognized by everyone in the Xuanzong sect. He was Jian Wudi, the father of Jian Feng, the head of the law enforcement department of the Xuanzong sect. Although Jian Wudi's eyes were hidden, he did not hide his greed. His voice was so loud that it was accompanied by a majestic sword chi. Even from 1,000 meters away, Jian Wudi's words could be heard clearly, let alone the people of the Xuanzong sect who were only one barrier away. Why are you doing this? At this moment, inside the Xuanzong sect, which was only separated by a barrier, Jian Feng, a senior member of the Xuanzong sect, was standing in front of the group. When he heard the voice of his father, he narrowed his eyes and the corners of his mouth trembled slightly. Jian Feng's voice was bitter, and his face was as pale as a sheet of paper. Jian Feng's body trembled as he asked a few questions. He gripped his sword tightly in his hand as he lowered his head in confusion. Why are you doing this? You clearly know that I'm the head of the law enforcement department in the Xuanzong sect. Why are you colluding with them? What do you want me to do? He grimaced hoarsely as a trace of blood flowed out from the sword. His other hand that wasn't holding the sword clenched tightly. Perhaps he had used too much strength. Her nails had dug deep into her palms, but she didn't realize it. It was as if she didn't feel any pain at all. Many people saw this seriously, including Jean Ling. She understood Jian Feng's feelings at this moment. They all understood Jian Feng's feelings at this moment. If it were them, they might not have Jian Feng's temperament. Perhaps they would have rushed out long ago, pointed at their father's nose and started shouting angrily. Brother, don't be like this. Father might have his difficulties. A weak and submissive voice sounded. Suddenly, Jian Feng, who was originally confused by his father's actions, woke up slightly after hearing this voice. He turned his head and looked at his sister, Jian Lian, who was holding his arm. At this moment, his eyes were filled with fear, but more than that, he felt heartache. Perhaps it was because his emotions had affected Jian Lian. At this moment, Jian Lian's body was trembling slightly. Jian Lian, who was originally weak, was on the verge of collapsing. It was as if a gentle breeze could blow her body away. It's okay. Lian, you don't have to worry. I'm here for you. It's okay. In order to not let his sister worry, the only thing Jian Feng could do was to pull himself together and try not to let his previous emotions reappear. This was because he didn't want his sister to be worried and afraid with him. He wanted to protect his sister. Okay. She replied in a weak voice. Then, her weak body burrowed into Jian Feng's embrace and stuck close to him. Sigh. A sigh sounded from the surrounding higher-ups of the Xuanzong sect. They all knew that in the face of such a situation, the only one who was in a difficult position was Jian Feng himself. How should he make a choice when facing his father, his former family, friends, and fellow disciples? Of course, no one wanted to see their family turn against each other. However, what they didn't want to see even more was Jian Feng betraying his own sect and joining the Sword Sect to help them attack the Xuanzong sect. All right, Jian Feng, send your sister back to the Heavenly Qin Palace. That is the main palace of the sect. Even if they break in, they will not arrive immediately. If they really break in, you should quickly take your sister and leave the sect. Do you understand? At this moment, Jean Ling really couldn't stand it anymore. She couldn't bear to let the father and son turn against each other because she also had a son. She didn't want to do this. The only thing she could do was to do this. No matter what everyone thought, she would take responsibility for this decision. As soon as she said this, all the higher-ups of the Xuanzong sect were stunned. They didn't expect Jean Ling to make such a choice. However, they all agreed to this choice. Therefore, after Jean Ling said this, they didn't express their intentions and tacitly agreed to this matter. Looking at the actions of the higher-ups, Jean Ling knew that everyone had agreed to what she had said just now. Then, a smile appeared on her face. No. The sect has done me a favor, and the sect leader has done me a great favor. I can't take myself out of the sect's life and death situation. This won't do. After saying that, he didn't wait for anyone to speak. He immediately turned around and pulled Jian Lian out of his arms. He said to her, "Little sister, you know about what happened today. I'm destined to fight today. As for you, I don't have time to take care of you now. Be good. Go to Tianshan Palace and wait for my triumphant return. At that time, I'll definitely give you what you want." With such a righteous act, everyone had nothing to say. They didn't say anything. They all turned around and let the siblings say goodbye. Perhaps this was the last time they would see each other. But, brother, Jian Lian, who was about to say something, was interrupted by Jian Feng. "Don't say anything. Don't worry. I'll be fine. Sword Sect, although they came to attack, I won't fight them head-on. I'll kill others. Don't worry." As his sister, she naturally knew Jian Feng's temper. Therefore, looking at her brother's serious face, Jian Lian knew that there was no chance to retort. "Yes, I know. Take this. Father said that this is my sister's dowry in the future. I'll wait for you to come back and hand it to me personally." As she spoke, she stuffed a phoenix seal hairpin into Jian Feng's hand. Then, she quickly disappeared on the spot with a red face. "Humph, come out and surrender. This is your last chance. Otherwise, you can wait for death." Just as everyone was immersed in the sadness of Jian Feng and his sister's parting, a sudden furious voice pulled everyone back to the present. "Humph, Jian Wudi, you old man. When you came to my sect as a guest, what kind of face did you have? Now, what kind of mouth do you have? As the leader of a sect, you're really amazing." Jean Ling couldn't stand Jian Wudi's voice. Then, she roared angrily. Suddenly, there was complete silence outside. However, when this voice reached the ears of the sect leaders, family leaders, and emperor lords, they wanted to laugh. But they had to hold it in for the sake of the sword sect leader. You. At this moment, Jian Wudi was so angry that he was about to die. He was just short of spontaneously combusting. "Fine, you can do it. Since you're so stubborn, we don't need to talk nonsense. Let's fight." The exasperated Jian Wudi didn't care about the face of the sect leader anymore. Then, he turned around and gave an order to his disciples. "Disciples of the sword sect, it's time for you to contribute to the sect. In a while, attack the barrier in the sky with all your strength. Remember, after you break through and enter, you must not touch the young lady of the young sect leader. Do you understand?" As soon as these words were spoken, the disciples of the sword sect who were already sharpening their swords instantly straightened their backs and replied energetically, "Yes, we will obey the sect leader's orders." Swish. 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 The moment the disciples of the sword sect responded, they changed. With the 3-foot sword in their hands, they charged towards the invisible barrier in the sky. More than 10,000 people. The sword sect alone had sent out more than 10,000 people. This number was equivalent to 1/3 of the disciples of the Xuanzong sect. Boom! More than 10,000 disciples released their cultivation at the same time. Even if a celestial emperor expert was here, they would have to weigh their own strength. Although this kind of strength wouldn't be enough to kill them, it would still hurt their muscles and bones. Their aura instantly soared into the sky. The disciples of the Xuanzong sect behind the barrier felt their aura and were immediately shocked. But fortunately, the Xuanzong sect was established by Lin Rei. If this was a sect like the Kunlun Immortal sect, perhaps such an aura would be able to intimidate them. However, they had miscalculated. The disciples of the Xuanzong sect were all monsters, especially the disciples brought up from the profound heaven realm. At this moment, each of them could become an overlord. Therefore, they naturally looked down on such an aura. Attack! I don't believe that this barrier can stop the disciples of the 10,000 Sword Sect. Attack! Attack! Jian Wudi's order was instantly received by the disciples of the 10,000 Sword Sect. Then, the disciples of the 10,000 Sword Sect raised their long swords in unison and struck down on the barrier in the sky. Boom! Although the sound was shocking, after the sound, everything returned to normal. There was no change, and there was no crack in the barrier in Jian Wudi's heart. Chapter 4:18. What? How is this possible? Jian Wudi, who had been secretly delighted at first, couldn't find an exit when he saw the empty sky. Jian Wudi's face was extremely ugly, as if he had eaten his own feces. It was disgusting. Ha ha ha, Jian Wudi, your sect is really something. Tens of thousands of people can't even break through a sect protection array. Did you do it on purpose? That's right, sect leader Jian. You're making things difficult for us. Ha ha ha, that's enough. Maybe sect leader Jian has more powerful tricks up his sleeve. Maybe this is just a test. At this moment, the sect leaders, family leaders, and emperors who were watching the show all began to mock Jian Wudi. Suddenly, Jian Wudi's face turned red from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet. At this moment, he really wanted to find a hole to hide in and never come out again. Even so, he did not want to listen to this group of despicable people laughing at him. The mocking voices of the emperors and family leaders who came with him made Jian Wudi want to rush up and kill them immediately. However, he realized that there was an anomaly among them. The Array Emperor, Zhu Tiantong. At this moment, the Array Emperor, Zhu Tiantong, was in a trance. He looked hesitant, as if he was thinking about something. He did not look at the scene at all. It could be said that Zhu Tiantong did not look at it at all. Jian Wudi was stunned when he saw Zhu Tiantong's expression. He knew what Zhu Tiantong was thinking. It was none other than Zhu Chenxi, the granddaughter of the Xuanzong sect. Oh, what's wrong? Sect leader Jian, you're done. A protruding, sharp voice rang out. Jian Wudi looked up and saw a shifty-eyed man with a wretched smile looking at him. Jian Wudi knew this man. Wasn't he the family leader of the Bai family, Bai Yin? Seeing Bai Yin's sarcasm, Jian Wudi was instantly enraged. All the repressed emotions from before erupted. He teleported in front of Bai Yin, pointed at his nose and began to scold him. Humph, old man, what are you talking about? Why don't you take a look at yourself? You dare to come out and meet people like this? I really admire you. Tell me, if you look like this, then what would your wife look like? Oh, by the way, do you think it's hereditary? Huh. Jian Wudi, you. Huh. 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 As the saying goes, one goes for wool and comes home shorn, lifting a rock only to drop it on one's own foot. At this moment, Bai Yin was exactly like that. Originally, he wanted to take this opportunity to humiliate Jian Wudi. Who would have thought that he would be humiliated instead? He had nothing to say. However, as soon as Jian Wudi finished speaking, the people from the various sects, clans, and empires began to laugh. Even some of the people who weren't afraid of the Bai family were laughing so hard that they were convulsing with laughter. As soon as this scene happened, the situation went out of control. Before they could even realize what they were thinking, the united group had already disbanded. Watching this farce, the disciples of the Xuanzong sect in the Sky Dome Xuanzong sect felt more cheerful and relaxed. However, good things didn't last long. Seeing this scene, the sect leader of the Floating Falls sect was instantly enraged. He released his late-stage Immortal Emperor cultivation and roared towards the sky. Enough! Enough of this joke! Have you all forgotten why you're here? Boom! The sound waves exploded in the ears of the hundreds of thousands of disciples. Instantly, everyone recovered. In just a short moment, the originally chaotic crowd returned to their usual solemn silence in the next moment. Formation Emperor, we'll have to trouble you this time. Everyone knows that the Formation Emperor's formation is famous in the immortal world. Swoosh! The sect leader of the Qiankuan sect said. Instantly, everyone's eyes locked onto the Formation Emperor, Zhu Tiantong. Everyone's eyes were filled with confidence as they looked at Zhu Tiantong. Instantly, Zhu Tiantong felt goosebumps all over his body. Although he looked good on the surface, the bitterness in his heart was unbearable. Looking at the sect leader of the Qiankuan sect, Zhu Tiantong already hated him in his heart. At this moment, whoever stood out would be the first to be shot. As the saying goes, the gun shoots the bird that sticks out. If the Xuanzong sect wasn't destroyed, then Zhu Tiantong would be the one to bear the brunt of this. Everyone, I'm really sorry. Originally, this old man thought that this formation would be easy to solve. However, only now did I realize that this formation is actually a Grandmaster formation. With this old man's current cultivation and formation level, it's still not enough to solve this formation. The moment these words came out, the crowd went into an uproar. They didn't expect these words to come out of the mouth of the Formation Emperor, Zhu Tiantong. However, what shocked them even more was that this formation was actually a Grandmaster formation. They knew that in the immortal world, formation masters who could set up Grandmaster formations had already retired from the public eye. However, here. At this moment, they couldn't help but wonder if this Xuanzong sect had a strong backing behind it. Everyone started to hesitate. However, this was indeed something that the sect leader of the Qiankuan sect didn't want to see. He hoped that this matter would blow up even more. It would be best if the Xuanzong sect was destroyed. Everyone listen to me. Although this is a Grandmaster formation, everyone can imagine that this place itself is very strange. Therefore, everyone need not worry. I've done my research. This Xuanzong sect doesn't have any backing behind it. Everyone had their own opinions. However, as the sect leader of the Qiankuan sect, everyone still had some degree of trust. As for this Grandmaster formation, it wasn't unbreakable. After a moment of hesitation, everyone's hesitant eyes were filled with determination. They were prepared to destroy the Xuanzong sect. Seeing this, Zhu Tiantong made his decision. He didn't want to participate in this event. For the sake of his granddaughter who had died in the Xuanzong sect, and for the sake of his own life and the lives of his own disciples, he chose to withdraw. If that's the case, then this old man's cultivation is useless. Since that's the case, the Formation Emperor's bloodline will withdraw and not participate in this event. As soon as this was said, everyone was stunned. This action was undoubtedly saying that there was something strange about the Xuanzong sect. Without waiting for the crowd to speak, the Array Emperor dynasty led their disciples away, leaving the crowd's line of sight. At this moment, all the sects regained their senses. When they saw that the spot where the Formation Emperor had been standing was empty, they couldn't help but feel unhappy. However, the happiest person was none other than the head of the Xuanzong sect's formation department, Zhu Chenxi. Her grandfather didn't participate in this event. This was what made her the happiest. Congratulations. Your grandfather. At this moment, Jian Feng saw the happy Zhu Chenxi and hurriedly congratulated her. However, Zhu Chenxi noticed the disappointment that flashed across his eyes. She didn't try to persuade him. Instead, she quietly followed behind him and looked at the disappointed Jian Feng without saying a word. The departure of the Formation Emperor was undoubtedly good news for the Xuanzong sect. However, just as everyone in the Xuanzong sect was rejoicing, they didn't notice that the last Daluo Golden Immortal Cultivator was slowly walking towards the sealed door. However, no one saw this scene, let alone noticed it. Laugh all you want. You are all very happy that the Formation Emperor has left. However, you don't know that the Formation Emperor is just a decoration. Everyone, did I really bet all my chips to break open the Xuanzong Sect's entrance on Zhu Tiantong? No one noticed that when the Formation Emperor left, the sect leader of the Qiankuan sect's lips curled up slightly. A treacherous smile appeared on his face, but it disappeared in an instant. All sects, empires, and families, charge forward. Use all your cultivation to break the formation in front of you. The sudden order caught everyone off guard, and they all obeyed it as if they were at the behest of gods and devils. In an instant, hundreds of thousands of people released their cultivation and began to attack the Xuanzong sect's protective formation. Boom, boom, boom. Although the formation was a grandmaster formation, hundreds of thousands of people were not a small number. One should know that there were countless celestial emperors among them. Slowly, the formation began to tremble violently. When the people of the Xuanzong sect at the entrance saw this scene, Jin Ling panicked. Although she had seen big scenes with Lin Rui, she had never seen such a scene before. Everyone, retreat at full speed to the Vermilion Bird Palace. Be prepared to fight at any time. The sudden order caused everyone to quickly retreat to the top of a palace 1,000 meters away from the entrance. However, far away in the central region, Lingyu, Kuei Gang, and the other 16 Azura celestial emperors were rushing towards the east. Along the way, they heard a lot about the Xuanzong sect. Naturally, they couldn't miss out on the news of the Xuanzong sect being besieged. At this point, everyone released all their cultivation and began to fly towards the Xuanzong sect's encampment. No, we have to speed up. If this continues, the Xuanzong sect will be hard to protect. We will be guilty of failing our duty. Before the young master left, he told us to protect the sect without any losses. At this moment, Ling Yu's expression was anxious. Cold sweat flowed down his face and dripped to the ground. Yes, we didn't do a good job. We could have finished it quickly, but we didn't expect the entrance to the Devil's Den to have such a strong restriction. If it wasn't for that restriction, we would have arrived at the sect by now. It turned out that after Ling Yu and Kuei Gang left, they came to the entrance of the Devil's Den unexpectedly. When they were about to go out, they were blocked by an extremely strong restriction and were bounced back. It should be known that Kuei Gang and Ling Yu were celestial emperors. Although they were blocked by a restriction, in order to complete the task as soon as possible, they were finally able to escape after 5 days. Then, they quickly rushed to the Xuanzong sect's encampment. Chapter 419. Oh no, mistress, look! At this moment, the members of the Xuanzong sect had retreated to the back of the Vermilion Bird Palace. The head of the law enforcement department, Jian Feng, suddenly saw a person wearing the uniform of the Xuanzong sect. He was holding a token and was already in front of the seal. What was even more unbelievable was that the person had already placed the token in front of him and was about to activate the seal. Seeing this scene, a sense of danger suddenly surged in his heart. He quickly reported to Jin Ling and instantly rushed towards the disciple in front of the prohibition at full speed. Jian Feng's voice caught everyone's attention. Immediately after, everyone's gaze turned towards the direction where Jian Feng was going. Someone had already placed the token in the slot to open the enchantment. Everyone was shocked. Then, they felt a sense of danger. At the same time, the same thought appeared in everyone's mind. There was a traitor. Boom! Suddenly, there was a loud sound. Then, the seal that protected the entire Xuanzong sect disappeared. Then, the door opened. Jian Feng, who was the first to realize that something was wrong, stopped abruptly and stared blankly at the scene before him. Creak, creak. A scene that no one wanted to see happened. At this moment, the door of the Xuanzong sect was slowly opening. However, the members of the Xuanzong sect looked disappointed and alert. They looked as if they were ready to die. On the other hand, the allies who were trying their best to attack the seal smiled when they saw the door slowly opening. Ha ha ha, look! The door of the Xuanzong sect is opening. Ha, that's right. It seems like the heavens are going to destroy the Xuanzong sect. In an instant, the passers-by who were watching this scene started to laugh at the Xuanzong sect's misfortune. It wasn't just these passers-by. The allies were elated as well. However, the happiest person was none other than the Grandmaster of Qiankuan sect. He had heard about this matter from the Qiankuan sect leader. Initially, he had asked the Qiankuan sect to investigate the sect that had suddenly appeared. Who would have thought that 100 years later, this sect was actually established by the disciples of the Xuanzong sect? Therefore, he had ordered the Qiankuan sect leader to be on standby. Now, he had even obeyed the orders of the Qiankuan sect leader and opened the door to the Xuanzong sect. Therefore, the outcome was completely within the control of the Qiankuan sect leader. You, bastard! At this moment, Xiaofan, who was standing not too far away, was prepared to sacrifice himself for the sect. Grasping the 3-chi chilling light of a top-grade immortal artifact in his hand, Xiaofan had already grasped the myriad sword formula. He utilized it on his face, ready to charge forward at a moment's notice. Humph, sect leader, you're the one who gave me the strength I have today. Even if I have to sacrifice my lowly life, I will fight to the last one until I die. Boom! Using the cultivation method, the cultivation of the golden immortal electric lamp gall rushed out in an instant. Looking at the cultivators who could not wait to rush in, Xiaofan could no longer hold back the cold light on his body and rushed out in an instant. The long sword in his hand seemed to be alive. Sword chi flew out automatically without Xiaofang's control and rushed toward the cultivators who rushed in. However, when this happened, the traitor of the Xuanzong sect took advantage of this gap and rushed out of the sky dome boundary. He came to the side of the Qiankuan sect leader who was in the sky outside. He nodded his head and bowed curiously as if he was asking for a reward. It was as if a husky was afraid of a dog. After seeing this scene, the sect masters, emperor lords, and family heads were no fools. They instantly understood what was going on. No wonder they couldn't wait to attack the Xuanzong sect. It turns out that they have planted a disciple of the Qiankuan sect in the Xuanzong sect. TSK, TSK, TSK. What a vicious move. Sigh, that's right. When we get back, I have to check my disciples to see if there are any spies from other sections. The actions of the Qiankuan sect shocked everyone, including the Xuanzong sect. They didn't expect that under such good conditions, there would still be people who would do such a thing. However, at this moment, they didn't have the time to think about such things. Now that the enemy had broken through their doorstep, what they wanted to do most was to pick up the weapons in their hands and kill the invaders. Of course, that was what they did. Xiaofan was covered in blood from head to toe. However, it was all someone else's blood. As for Xiaofan, it could be said that he could hold back 10,000 men by himself. The invincible aura he exuded frightened the invaders. As the saying went, one step kills one person. At this moment, Xiaofan was most fitting of this saying. Not only did he kill one person with one step, but he would also kill many people with each step he took. Basically, Xiaofan had passed through the corpses of his enemies. This aura ignited the blood of all the disciples of the Xuanzong sect. Xiaofang's actions made all the disciples of the Xuanzong sect want to learn from him. Uncontrollably, all of the Xian sect disciples let out a loud roar at the same time. Their aura instantly rose, accompanied by a murderous aura. At this moment, they could no longer control their aura. Boys, this is a crisis for our Xuanzong sect. Our Xuanzong sect has never caused trouble. However, we are willing to use our strength and we are never afraid of trouble. If others bully us, what do you think we should do? Looking at the expressions of the crowd, Jin Ling quickly stepped forward and roared at them. Her tone was full of murderous aura and stubbornness. Her whole person was exuding a very charming aura at this moment. If others bully us, we will definitely exterminate their entire family to increase the prestige of our Xuanzong sect. We can't be ignored, and we can't let others trample on us at will. Everyone was in agreement. This scene stunned everyone, especially the enemies who were continuously rushing in from outside. After seeing this moment, they unconsciously took a step back. Good. Hearing the words of the Xuanzong sect disciples, Jin Ling smiled. Then, she said to the crowd in a firm tone, "Cultivation, follow me to kill." Although Jin Ling's cultivation was at the level of a golden immortal, she couldn't retreat at this moment. Because if she retreated at this moment, the entire Xuanzong sect would be finished. The moment Jin Ling finished speaking, she held the 3-foot-long cold light in her hand and turned into a stream of light that instantly rushed to the front and joined the battle. Die, all of you. In an instant, the people of the Xuanzong sect who saw Jin Ling rushing forward did not stop. They rushed forward in an instant and began a fierce battle with the enemy. All the disciples of the Xuanzong sect were 1 in a million, and they had all undergone professional training. Even their cultivation methods were many times better than the cultivation methods of the disciples of other sections. In addition, Lin Rei had personally taught them martial skills and weapons. Of course, these bastards in front of them were no match for them. After one round, they were all killed by the weapons of the disciples of the Xuanzong sect. At this moment, Wang Kuei, Wang Wen, dozens of immortal emperors, Bing, Ming, Tian Yun, and the others were all summoned by Lin Rei. When Lin Rei's cultivation increased to the early stage of the immortal emperor realm, their cultivation also increased to the peak of the late stage of the immortal emperor realm. However, at this moment, they did not act rashly, nor did they participate in the battle. At this moment, they were staring at the enemy immortal emperors. They wanted to preserve their strength to resist those immortal emperors. On the other side, there were more than 30 immortal emperors. This was a very large number. If it were other people at this moment, they would definitely be afraid and surrender. However, they were all Lin Rei's subordinates, so they were not afraid at all. Everyone, let's go and meet them. It's really not good to leave us idle like this. At this moment, Ming looked at the more than 30 immortal emperors on the other side. In an instant, his battle intent soared to the sky. The sky piercer in his hand could not wait to rush forward and join the battle. I have the same intention. In that case, let's have a competition to see who can kill more immortal emperors. However, remember, you have to live. Whoosh! Tian Yun, who had been quarreling with Ming, held his weapon the moment he finished speaking. In an instant, he disappeared. When he reappeared, he was in front of the immortal emperors on the other side. As the saying goes, one must pick the soft persimmon to pinch. When Tian Yun reappeared, he was beside an early-stage immortal emperor. Since you have come to the Xuanzong sect, you should be prepared to be killed. As soon as these words were spoken, the immortal emperor reacted. Just as he was about to counterattack, he suddenly felt a sharp pain at the back of his neck. His body went soft and fell to the ground. After that, his vitality slowly disappeared. However, the moment he killed the first immortal emperor, Tian Yun disappeared again. He circled around the low-level immortal emperors. This scene made Bing and Ming feel helpless. They looked at each other and in an instant, more than 10 immortal emperors rushed out. Each of them took out their special skills and the chaotic battle began. However, the ones who felt the most heartache were those sects, empires and clans that came to besiege the Xuanzong sect. To them, the immortal emperors were their top forces. Seeing the number of immortal emperors they brought being killed and the number of immortal emperors was decreasing, their hearts ached. How can this be? They are all immortal emperors. Even if they were slightly weaker, they shouldn't have been killed in a single move. This is impossible. At this moment, Jian Wudi's face was filled with fear. He had never seen such a terrifying strength. If he had known that an immortal emperor of the same realm could be killed in a single move, he wouldn't have been killed even if he didn't fight for several days and nights. However, what he saw now was the truth. The immortal emperors of his sect were killed by the Xuanzong sect's immortal emperors in a single move. This was a great humiliation. At the same time, it was also a loss for his sect. Such an existence, I don't know how that brat from the Xuanzong sect trained them. To think that an immortal emperor could kill an immortal emperor of the same realm with a single move. Such a thing has never happened before in the immortal world. Chapter 420. The truth was right in front of their eyes. They had no choice but to believe it. Seeing the immortal emperors that they had painstakingly nurtured being killed, even if it was for the sake of resources, their hearts would still ache. However, it wasn't just one or two who had died. At this moment, Bing and the others had 12 immortal emperors. After the first round of attacks, the Qiankuan sect had lost 7 immortal emperors. This number was enough to make their hearts ache. On the other hand, the Xuanzong sect was completely fine. There wasn't even a scratch on them. When this scene happened, even the tens of thousands of Xuanzong sect disciples who were in the midst of the chaotic battle felt their fighting strength increase to another level. The rush of killing 7 immortal emperors was a good start for their counterattack. They didn't disappoint. The first wave of attacks from several sects had finally come to an end. At this moment, the scene at the entrance of the Xuanzong sect was like a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. It was like hell. It was extremely eerie and chilling. Especially when they saw the Xuanzong sect disciples on top of the mountain of corpses. They held bloody weapons in their hands. Their bodies, including their faces, were covered in blood. Their eyes were fierce and murderous. Every Xuanzong sect disciple was like a Yin corpse that had walked out from hell. It was terrifying. Seeing this scene, the Xuanzong sect disciples knew that their chances of winning were very slim. However, they didn't expect the Xuanzong sect to provoke the intruders at the entrance of the Xuanzong sect. Humph, broken dogs. To think that you're still barking here. Do you really think that I don't have a way to destroy you? At this moment, the Qiankuan sect leader stood in the air and looked at the dead disciples with the same expression. It was as if the deaths had nothing to do with him. However, the others didn't think so. They knew that the people here were the elites that they had brought along. They were the mainstays of their families, empires, and sections. So many of them had died in such a short time. Their hearts were bleeding. Their hearts ached for their dead brothers, friends, and clansmen. They never thought that this would be their final resting place. However, what shocked them the most was that the immortal emperors were powerful, but they didn't expect the people below them to be so powerful. For a moment, everyone began to have the intention to recruit these people. I'm the Sword Sect's sect master, Jian Wudi. I'm sure all of you are familiar with me. I'm the father of your law enforcement department's sect master. Right now, there are 2 choices before all of you. The first is to submit to me and become a disciple of my sword sect. In the future, I'll definitely put all of you in an important position. No one had expected Jian Wudi to come forward and offer an olive branch to the Xuanzong sect at this time. Of course, the others were even more unwilling to accept this. Immediately, the recruitment meeting began. No, I'm from the Bai clan. Come to the Bai clan, and I'll give you the best resources. Humph, who do you think you are? Come to my Kunlun sect. My Kunlun sect is the guardian of a region. Come to my proud heaven empire. Come to my Kunlun sect, and I'll give you the titles of nobles and generals. You'll be a man above all men, and you'll enjoy the admiration of the world. One by one, these people began to openly recruit the Qianquan Immortal Sect master. At this moment, the Qianquan Sect master's face was red with anger. However, to the disciples of the Profound Sect, their recruitment was nothing more than a show. They thought that the Profound Sect's disciples were merely showing off. Enough nonsense. Kill them all. This time, I'll destroy the Xuanzong sect. A roar rang out. Everyone was stunned. Of course, no one moved because of the order. Only the tens of thousands of Qianquan Sect's disciples moved. Yes, we'll destroy the Xuanzong sect. After receiving the order, the disciples of Qianquan Sect moved and began to kill the Xuanzong sect once again. Kill. Without holding back, the disciples of the Xuanzong sect raised their weapons and charged forward. However, Jin Ling was already exhausted. After all, Jin Ling's cultivation was only at the Golden Immortal realm. In front of someone stronger than her, her little tricks were not worth mentioning. However, when Bing noticed this, he decisively killed the Immortal Emperor in front of him. The Emperor doesn't have time to waste with you. End this. Ice Seal, Ice Crystal Terror. Suddenly, an extremely cold space appeared around the Immortal Emperor who was facing ice. On the spatial wall, icicles with terrifying aura instantly pierced through the Immortal Emperor who was trapped. Pu. Under such circumstances, the Immortal Emperor had no ability to fight back. Firstly, he was not as strong as Bing. Secondly, his cultivation techniques and martial techniques were not as strong as Bing's. Therefore, he could only face the situation of being killed. After it ended, Bing was not in the mood to stay in the air. He was very worried about Jin Ling's life because this concerned Lin Rei. He knew that she had to protect everything about Lin Rei. No matter what it was, whether it was him or the property. In an instant, Bing, who had disappeared, reappeared next to Jin Ling. At this moment, Jin Ling was exhausted. At the same time, a cold sword was coming down on her from above. You're courting death. After a cold snort, Jian Bing waved his sleeve and the cultivator was annihilated by Bing without leaving even a trace of his body. However, as soon as this scene appeared, Jin Ling immediately reacted. Then, she turned around and saw the existence of ice. Thank you. Plop. Perhaps because she was too tired, she fainted in Bing's arms after saying this to him. Sister Jin Ling, are you alright? Looking at the unconscious Jin Ling, Bing Shana became anxious. Then, a pure immortal qi was transferred into Jin Ling's body. Bing helped her recover from her previous injuries. After everything was done, Bing finally breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, luckily you're fine. Otherwise, even if I had more of you, it would be useless. However, she did not know that her actions were unintentionally seen by the Qianquan sect leader in the air. He had an idea and an idea appeared in his mind. To catch bandits, first catch the leader. Since you guys are so stubborn, don't blame me. Xiao. Time to sleep. The Qianquan sect leader took the initiative. As the leader of a sect, no matter what, he still had some skills. His speed was extremely fast and in an instant, he appeared beside Bing. Bang! Bing was sent flying by the Qianquan sect leader. Jin Ling was naturally taken away by Qianquan sect leader. Perhaps because he was too worried about Jin Ling's existence, he was not vigilant of his surroundings. He did not expect that he would let the other party escape. Pfft! A mouthful of blood spurted out from Bing's mouth. In an instant, Bing's entire face turned pale. Plop, plop. After flying 100 meters, Bing landed on the ground and rolled one round before coming to a stop. You. Looking at Jin Ling who had been taken away, Bing could only trust him. After all, Jin Ling was the backbone of the Qianquan sect and it was Lin Rei's aura. She could not let it be threatened. Old man, you are a sect leader. How dare you attack the emperor so shamelessly? How shameful. Bing had no choice. In order to not let Jin Ling be threatened, he could only do this. Hee, stop pretending. Lin Rei's wife is in my hands. Tell me, what should you do? After saying that, Qianquan sect leader grabbed Jin Ling's neck. In the air, he used his cultivation to remind the Xuanzong sect members, stop. Your sect leader's wife is in my hands. Put down your weapons and I will let you go. Otherwise, I don't know what will happen. Qianquan sect leader's hand tightened around Jin Ling's neck. Jin Ling's face flashed with a painful expression, but she was the first to cry out. However, Qianquan sect leader's method was still effective. Sure enough, after hearing Qianquan sect leader's voice, all the Xuanzong sect disciples stopped their weapons and looked up at Qianquan sect leader. Everyone's face was full of anger. Quick, let my mother go. Otherwise, I will kill all of you. Suddenly, Jin En, who was in the crowd, saw that his mother had been caught. He instantly rushed out of the crowd and roared at the crowd. The murderous intent in his eyes was very chilling. Looking at those eyes that could eat people, everyone was stunned. Quick! Quick, quick! Go back, don't worry about me. Looking at her son, Jin Ling instantly panicked. At this moment, her son stood out. He was undoubtedly treated as the target of public criticism. At the heart of the storm, it would definitely be very dangerous. This was not what she, as a mother, wanted to see. However, the more she did not want things to happen, the more they always happened. Hee, Lin Rei's son. Since it's like this, I will kill him first. I will let all of you know that Qianquan sect leader is a man of his word. Whoosh! While everyone was in a daze, a cold light at the speed of light appeared in front of Jin En's chest. Without any hesitation, it directly pierced through Jin En's body. Ah! No! A furious roar came out of Jin Ling's mouth. Unfortunately, it was too late. It was too late. At this moment, Jin En, who was still there, had a hole in his chest. Blood slowly flowed out from it. Killed. Simple and decisive, ruthless and dignified. Everyone was dumbfounded. They did not expect Qianquan sect leader to be so shameless as to use someone else's wife as a bargaining chip to win. They did not dare to agree with this. Ah! A scream came out of Jin Ling's mouth. Tears flowed out of her eyes without any regard for her life. However, these tears were not colorless, but blood red. Yes, it was blood. Watching her own son die in front of her, and being unable to do anything about it, was such a heart-wrenching thing. Chapter 421. This scene shocked everyone present. Of course, as the mother of the deceased, she was quite sad, desperate, and disheartened. Looking at her lifeless son lying on the ground, Jin Ling really wanted to avenge him, but she knew that she would not be spared today. When the people of the Xuanzong sect saw the corpse of the young master, Jin En, they originally wanted to stop it, but they did not have the time. Jin Ling's hoarse voice made everyone present tremble in fear. They even felt as if their bodies were frozen, and they were rooted to the ground. Looking at Jin Ling, who was being strangled by the heaven and earth path, Bing's eyes were filled with guilt. He came back to the ground with tears flowing down his face. He said to Jin En, I'm sorry, I'm useless. I couldn't protect the young master. I'm sorry. Bing's actions stunned everyone. They did not understand, but Jin Ling did understand what Bing meant. Ha. She laughed. After hearing Bing's words, Jin Ling laughed. However, no one present wanted to hear such laughter a second time because such laughter made them feel cold all over, especially the bone-chilling coldness. It was as cold and heartless as 10,000-year-old ice. Get up. This is not your fault. The fault is that this group of people should be killed, but no one can stop them. I'm laughing because I can't see them die because of my anger. I'm laughing because my son is dead, but my Lin family is not extinct. I'm laughing even more at this group of inhumane bastards. Words that made everyone ashamed came out of Jin Ling's mouth. However, everyone could tell that she was joking because they all knew that when a person said something before they died, 90% of them were true. Especially when they looked at Jin Ling's ruthless and cold face at this moment, everyone felt that what she said was true. All of you, just you wait. Someone will definitely avenge my son and me. Don't worry, my son and I will definitely walk very slowly on the 9 nether path. We will wait for you. Crack. Ah. Suddenly, a voice that made one's hair stand on end sounded. After hearing Jin Ling's words, the heaven and earth path directly cut off Jin Ling's hand. This kind of pain appeared on a woman's body. No one would be able to endure it, let alone a woman. Humph, don't you want to say it? Since you want to say it, don't you dare faint. Then, this spirit energy directly sealed the wound on Jin Ling's arm. In an instant, the wound stopped bleeding, but the pain still eroded Jin Ling's will. Crack. Ah. Before anyone could react, Jin Ling's other arm also disappeared. Instead, blood spurted out. This scene was so bloody that no one dared to look directly at it. There were even some people who were unwilling to see this scene. They immediately turned around and sealed their hearing. Ah. No, no. The people of the Xuanzong sect saw that their mistress was humiliated by the heaven and earth path. They looked at Jin Ling, who had lost her arm and was in pain. As disciples of the Xuanzong sect, they were powerless in front of the scene in front of them. This was undoubtedly a huge blow to their hearts. Even if today passed, it would still be an obstacle to their future cultivation. Heaven and earth path, you old bastard. How dare you bully my mistress inside? Aren't you afraid that my sect leader will destroy your entire sect? At this moment, the black shadow from the dark sect who had followed Lin Rei for a long time could no longer bear it. He immediately said it out loud and pointed at the heaven and earth path, threatening them with indignation. Heaven and earth path, you old bastard, just you wait. Even if you kill my Xuanzong sect today, when my sect leader returns, he will exterminate your sect. At this moment, the people of the Xuanzong sect were no longer afraid of death. They only hoped that the heaven and earth path could give Jin Ling a quick death and stop her from being tortured like this. Taoist friend heaven and earth, we came here today just to destroy the Xuanzong sect. There's no need to do this. Look at Jin Ling, she's a woman. Isn't it against the righteous path and against your conscience to attack her like this? That's right, Taoist friend. You've gone too far. F***ck, you should just kill Lin Rei's wife directly. That's right, that's right. Brother Wudi is right. Taoist friend heaven and earth, hurry up and kill her. You don't have to do this to them. At this moment, the people who came with the heaven and earth path couldn't stand it anymore when they saw how cruel the heaven and earth path was. They immediately tried to persuade the heaven and earth path. However, fortunately, they still had a lot of face. After listening to everyone's explanation, the heaven and earth path had no choice but to agree. Okay, today I'll do you a favor. I'll kill Jin Ling right away. Humph, just you wait. Sooner or later, I'll kill all of you one by one. At that time, I'll make you beg for death. Although the heaven and earth path's face was full of smiles, his heart was extremely gloomy. Puff, puff. She was killed. Blood gushed out and fell from the sky like rain. However, when this scene appeared, everyone's eyes narrowed, their pupils contracted, and their faces were full of anger. Although the heaven and earth path agreed to kill Jin Ling, they didn't say how to do it. However, no one expected that the heaven and earth path would be so cruel. Even if she died, she didn't leave a way out for others. Her head, arms, and legs were all separated. Her death was so cruel that it was unbearable to look at. In the sky above the central region of the Pacific Ocean on planet Aqua Blue, Lin Rei, who had returned from the immortal realm, had arrived at the place where the Pishio was imprisoned. I'm finally back. Along the way, I've really experienced 81 difficulties. At this time, Lin Rei's clothes were ragged and his hair was disheveled. He looked exactly like a beggar. You still have the nerve to say that. In the space, I told you not to move around, but you didn't. Every time, you're so busy. Remember, if you do this again, don't say that I didn't warn you. At this time, the little dragon, who had been following closely beside him, lectured him with a sullen face. Suddenly, just as Lin Rei was about to jump into the sea, he felt a sudden pain in his chest and tears flowed from his eyes unconsciously. What's wrong? The little dragon's heart skipped a beat when he saw Lin Rei's situation. He quickly came forward and asked with concern. However, at this moment, Lin Rei's soul seems to have left his body. He didn't hear the little dragon at all. The pain in his heart is getting stronger and stronger. This kind of pain is something that Lin Rei has never experienced before. Hey, boy, don't scare me. Did you hear me? Hiss, I say, why are you? After hearing no reaction from Lin Rei, the little dragon shouted again. But halfway through, Lin Rei covered his chest with his hand and explained to the little dragon with eyes full of sorrow. I don't know why, but just now, my heart suddenly hurt, as if I lost something important. My heart is very sad. As he spoke, he touched his cheek with one hand. Tears stained his hand. At this moment, he was even more certain that something must have happened. Otherwise, with his immortal emperor cultivation, this kind of situation wouldn't have happened at all. Well, let's not talk about it first. Hurry up and go into the sea. It's not easy to come here, so you should quickly unlock the seal of the Pishio. Only then can you return to the immortal realm. Moreover, your life won't be in danger. Having known Linli for so many years, Xiaolong knew Linli's temperament well. Although Xiaolong couldn't say that he was 90% certain, he was certain that Linli would listen to him. As long as one wasn't a fool, they would be able to understand the meaning of the little dragon's words. Sure enough, after hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei gave up the idea of returning to the immortal realm immediately. Instead, he wasted no time and plunged directly into the Pacific Ocean. In front of Tianxiong Mountain in the immortal realm, the scene at this moment was very solemn. The smell of gunpowder was very oppressive. Old man, you dare to kill the mistress of the Xuanzong sect. Today, I'll fight with you. Kill him. At this moment, Jian Feng was at the end of his patience. After all, he owed Linli a great debt of gratitude. Now that he saw his benefactor's wife being killed with the help of his father, Jian Feng couldn't help but charge forward. His cultivation base instantly soared. With a top-grade immortal artifact in his hand, he began his massacre once again. However, Jin Ling's death ignited the bloodthirst of the Xuanzong sect brothers. If he had known earlier, Jinan would have treated them very well. Hee, jumping clowns, all of you can die for this sovereign. The heaven and earth path seemed to have expected such a scene. When he saw this scene, a treacherous smile appeared on his face, just like when his scheme was about to succeed. Heaven and earth technique, heaven and earth destruction, one palm. Kill. The heaven and earth path's cultivation of the exceptional realm of the Celestial Emperor was released instantly. A giant palm appeared in an instant and fell directly from the sky. It didn't matter if the person was a disciple of the Xuanzong sect or not, the palm directly slapped down fiercely. Bang! A loud sound rang out, causing everyone present to reveal a shocked expression. However, at the place where the heaven and earth path had slapped, a huge handprint appeared. At the same time, the huge handprint was filled with corpses. There were hundreds of corpses, and none of them were spared. However, most of the corpses were not from the Xuanzong sect. They were disciples from various sects, empires, and families. When this scene appeared, everyone was unwilling. They had watched these dead people grow up. Some of them were even close to them. Now, they were all dead, slapped to death by the heaven and earth path's palm. Although they were in an alliance now, everyone was selfish in their hearts. At this moment, after seeing their disciples die, Jian Wudi, Xian Dao, and the others were unwilling. Among the dead disciples, the disciples of the Kunlun Immortal Sect and the Sword Sect were the most, followed by the Proud Moon Empire and the others. Heaven and Earth Path, you're too ruthless. You even dare to kill the disciples of the Sword Sect. Are you courting death? Chapter 422. As the sect leader of the Sword Sect, he could not bear to see his disciple die tragically. At the same time, he did not want to see the Heaven and Earth Sect being so arrogant, so he immediately reprimanded them. After one person spoke, the others became even more unscrupulous. After hearing Jian Wudi's reprimand, the others also began to criticize the Heaven and Earth Sect for strangling their own disciples to death. Humph, that's right. Heaven and Earth Sect, what are you trying to do? They were all the mainstays of our sect. Now that they were killed by you, tell us, what should we do about this? Yes, tell us. At this moment, the sects of those who were killed by the Heaven and Earth Sect all began to argue with the Heaven and Earth Sect. However, Bing had already gone crazy. She turned a blind eye to the dispute between the sects and empires in the sky. At this moment, she looked at Jin Ling, who was torn apart by the Heaven and Earth Sect, and Jin En, who was killed by an arrow through his chest, with tears in her eyes. Plop. Bing knelt on the ground with a sorrowful expression and kowtowed to Jin Ling, Sister Jin Ling, I'm sorry. I didn't protect well. Back then, young master asked me to protect but now. Is dead. I've let young master down, and I've let you down even more. I'm sorry that I couldn't let you suffer less. I'm sorry. Bing's voice trembled in front of Jin Ling, and her body was extremely cold at this moment. However, after the fierce battle, more than half of the original tens of thousands of disciples had died. Even 3 of the 12 celestial emperors had died, and 9 of them were killed. This was the most difficult challenge in the history of the Xuanzong sect. Plop. Plop. The remaining members of the Xuanzong sect all came behind Bing, knelt down, and coughed deeply at Jin Ling's corpse. Then, they began to mourn in silence. Looking at this scene, Bing was sobbing silently. Her tears had dried up, and she could no longer shed a single tear. An angry roar rang out, waking up the people of the Heaven and Earth sect who were arguing. At the same time, the disciples of the Xuanzong sect, who were in silent mourning, were also awakened. Everyone looked at Bing, who was kneeling on the ground, and roared to the sky with hostility. My dead brothers and mistresses, don't worry. If we don't die today, we will definitely uproot all the sects, empires, and families that come here. I don't care if their families are here or not. We will definitely make all the people who participated in the siege today pay with their blood. None will be left alive. His words were so cold that Jian Wudi and the others were shocked. At the same time, the people of the Xuanzong sect were agitated when they heard Bing's words. That's right. If we don't die today, we will definitely kill them all in the future. Let them all accompany you. Brothers, rest in peace, rest in peace. Boom. Suddenly, the moment they finished speaking, the sound of thunder resounded in the sky, as if acknowledging their words. Hiss. Others didn't understand, but the sect leaders, emperors, and family heads of the major sects knew that this was the acknowledgement of their words by the heavens and earth. It meant that this enmity had been formed, and it would be irreconcilable until one of them died. One of the two sides had to die. Otherwise, the one who betrayed the oath would be destroyed by the thunder tribulation. Humph, since you don't want to live, don't blame us for being ruthless. You know that cultivation is something that can't be erased in a lifetime. The only way now is to kill all the people in front of you. Leave no one alive. Same. At this point, the heaven and earth path glanced at Jian Wudi, who had an ugly expression on his face, and said, similarly, your son, Jian Wudi, has joined the oath-taker's side. He will fight us to the death for all eternity, unless we die. Hearing this, the crowd looked at Jian Wudi with sympathy. At the same time, they rejoiced in their hearts. Hee, fortunately, my son is not here. This sentence echoed in the hearts of all the sect leaders. Of course, Jian Wudi was the most upset at this moment. He couldn't accept that his son had become his enemy. Humph, take care of yourselves. Jian Wudi growled at the sympathetic gazes of the crowd and the words of the heaven and earth path with a cold face. Well, in this case, don't bother. Let's make it quick. Let's work together and use your best martial arts to kill him. What do you think? At this time, Bai Yinan, the family head of the Bai family, stood out and said to the crowd. However, because of what had happened before, he couldn't say it out loud. Sure enough, as soon as Bai Yinan's idea was mentioned, the crowd immediately agreed with him. Well, let's do it. Let's start. Everybody agreed. Immediately after, they took out their own weapons and used their own powerful skills. They immediately aimed their weapons at Bing and the other disciples of the Xian sect who were kneeling on the ground. Hee, Grey Wolf Sea Moon, twist. Flowing Cloud and Flying Snow, seal. Sky Star Palm, destroy heaven and earth. Powerful martial arts skills that were rarely seen were all used at this moment. The last one was Jian Wudi. After thinking for a while, he finally decided to take action. Sigh, that's all. Don't blame me. Who told you to stand with Xianzong and make such a vicious oath? Don't blame me. Hee, swordsmanship code, sealing rain sword, sword sealing rain, one sword celestial. The swordsmanship code, the most powerful martial arts skill of the swordsmanship sect, was used smoothly by Jian Wudi under the watercloud flowing sword. Streaks of terrifying sword chi filled the surroundings, as if everything would be strangled. It was terrifying. Hee, cruel and merciless. Sure enough, Jian Wudi still thinks that his life is more valuable than his son's in front of his own. Jian Wudi's action was undoubtedly telling the crowd that his life was very valuable. Even if it was his own family in front of him, as long as they stood in his way, he would crush them. Similarly, Jian Feng, who was kneeling on the ground, felt the aura of the swordsmanship code. He immediately looked up at the sky and saw his father, whom he had always respected, holding a sword and pointing it at him. He had to be cautious, ruthless, and sorrowful. Hee. Sure enough, he still wants to kill me. Looking at his father, Jian Feng said with a miserable smile and a self-deprecating tone. Well, we don't need such things in the future. In this case, we can only fight to protect our lives. Don't forget, the blood debt we bear is all their lives. Bing's words brought the crowd back to their senses. Everyone spoke to the Xuanzong sect with hostility and murderous intent. Let's fight. If we don't die in this battle, we will massacre all the sects and families and make them pay a painful price. Ha! In the sky, Jian Wudi and the others shouted loudly. Immediately, the martial arts skills that they had been accumulating for a long time could no longer be held back. With a strong pressure and a terrifying aura, they instantly arrived in front of Bing and the others. Seeing the attack so close, Bing and the others felt that their bodies were gradually turning cold, as if they were about to become corpses. Is God going to kill us? Looking at their dead brothers and sisters, looking at the dead mistress and young sect master, and looking at the attack that was so close to them, they felt powerless and closed their eyes, waiting for death to come. However, at this moment, in the sky outside the sect, a group of people was rushing over. When they saw that the Xuanzong sect's disciples were about to die, the young man in the lead immediately released his cultivation, followed by an appropriate amount of immortal spiritual qi. With a wave of his sleeve, the Grim Reaper, who was originally close to Bing, disappeared. However, Bing and the others did not know that after waiting for a long time, they did not feel any pain. Slowly, they opened their eyes. In an instant, a group of people with powerful cultivation had appeared in front of them. Facing these people who had suddenly appeared, Bing did not know who they were, but he could see that they did not have any hostility. However, what shocked the people from the Qiankuan sect was that they knew that the martial arts skills that they had just released could not be so easily neutralized. However, the scene in front of them was real. Who are you? Why are you interfering with the affairs of the Qiankuan sect and the other sects? Do you want to disappear along with the Xuanzong sect? At this moment, Bing and the others could no longer tolerate the fact that these people had neutralized his attack silently. This was the first time in his life that he had ever been humiliated like this, and it made him very unhappy. Ha! The man in the lead laughed coldly. Then, he turned around and said to Bing, who had already stood up, in a gentle tone, "We are from the Xuanzong sect, and this is the territory of the Xuanzong sect." Hearing this, the people from the Qiankuan sect, including Bing and the others, narrowed their eyes. Although the other party did not have any killing intent, they still had to be wary of him. With caution, they prepared themselves for battle and responded to the man's words. "That's right, this is the territory of the Xuanzong sect. We are the only remaining disciples of the Xuanzong sect. May I know who you are?" At this moment, Bing used the word "sir" to address the young man. This was because she had just checked the young man's cultivation level. However, she did not expect that the young man in front of her had no cultivation level at all. It could even be said that he was an ordinary person. For this reason, there were two possibilities. First, the man in front of her was indeed an ordinary person. Second, the man in front of her was so powerful that she couldn't even sense his cultivation. These two possibilities were the easiest to explain and the easiest to accept. However, after Bing gave an affirmative response, the young man smiled. Chapter 423. Hehe, we were sent back by the young master to guard the sect. The young master had a premonition that if we left the sect for too long, the other sects would be dissatisfied and even besiege us. Therefore, he sent us back to guard the sect. As he spoke, Ling Yu turned around and looked at the bloody battlefield around him. He smiled miserably, and his face instantly turned cold. However, it's obvious that we were too late. At this point, Ling Yu and the other 18 people lowered their heads and spoke to the remaining people of the Xuanzong sect with eyes full of guilt. However, Ling Yu's words were not taboo for everyone. The moment Ling Yu said this, the people of the heaven and earth path were all shocked. This was because the people who had suddenly appeared in front of them were not ordinary cultivators. There were even two people whose realms they could not perceive. At this point, they suddenly thought of a very frightening possibility. No, it can't be. The rules of the immortal realm are under the supervision of Tendo. This kind of thing can't happen. I must have thought wrong. Yes, I must have thought wrong. At this time, the heaven and earth path's thoughts were exactly the thoughts of everyone who had besieged them. However, because they were very clear about the order and rules of the immortal realm, they would rather choose the opposite answer. They did not want to believe it, nor did they dare to believe it. If this matter was really as they thought, then this matter would be very serious. They besieged the Xuanzong sect and even killed the disciples of the Xuanzong sect and Lin Rei's wife and children. Just like the oath of the remaining people of the Xuanzong sect, their sects, empires, and families would no longer exist. So what if they had the descendants of the celestial venerables? This matter would not change at all. Young master. However, Bing's thoughts were completely different from theirs. The moment he did not hear Ling Yu's words, Bing's heart completely collapsed, and tears flowed out from his eyes uncontrollably. However, when he thought of the dead Jin Ling and Jin En, Bing instantly lost control of himself. He felt even sadder and more helpless. Not only did Bu Bing cry, even the disciples of the Xuanzong sect who had never stopped fighting, including Lin Wanyu and the other 4 disciples. At that time, it was not because they were afraid. Instead, it was because they had learned that their master Lin Rei was fine, and that the rumors from before were all lies. Sigh. Sorry, we're late. But don't worry, the sects, clans, empires, and sects that participated in the siege will all pay the price of annihilation. Looking at his fellow sect members in front of him, Ling Yu could empathize with their feelings. After saying that, Ling Yu's face was cold and emotionless. He looked coldly at the enemies in the sky outside of the Xuanzong sect. There was only one thought in Ling Yu's mind, and that was to suppress them all and wait for Lin Rei to come back and deal with them. However, the moment Ling Yu's words left his mouth, the heaven and earth path and Jian Wudi were frightened. They knew that the 2 reinforcements of the Xuanzong sect in front of them were very powerful. They were so powerful that they had no power to fight back. Even so, they would not allow themselves to be captured without putting up a fight. They were the leaders of their sects, and behind them were the disciples of their sections. If they retreated at this moment, it would not only bring about death, but also the complete destruction of their sections. It would not be long before their sects were completely destroyed. Senior, we're just here to reason with the Xuanzong sect. The conflict was purely an accident. You're an expert of the immortal venerable realm. Tendo has already made it clear that immortal venerables in the immortal world are not allowed to interfere with the affairs of the sects in the immortal world. Aren't you afraid of Tendo's punishment? He was indeed the leader of a sect. At this time, he was still able to remain calm in the face of danger. Moreover, he was able to use Tendo as a threat. Even Bing and the others were impressed by his wisdom and rationality. But so what? They still couldn't avoid the fate of death, because this was the oath they had sworn. However, Ling Yu didn't say anything after hearing the words of the heaven and earth path. Instead, he laughed heartily. His eyes were filled with contempt and disdain. He looked at them as if he was looking at a few clowns. Ha ha ha, idiots. When did I say that I'm going to do it myself? Kuei Gang, who had been silent all this while, finally spoke. His voice was rough, and his appearance was similar to the way he spoke. However, he seemed to be a very decisive person. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Immediately, the group of people from the heaven and earth path heaved a sigh of relief, and the tension on their faces receded. However, the expressions of Bing and the others behind Ling Yu changed drastically. Just as they were about to ask why, Kuei Gang's voice was heard again. The group of people from the heaven and earth path who were filled with joy when they heard Kuei Gang's words changed their expressions instantly. When they heard Kuei Gang's words, they were dumbfounded. I said that we won't do anything. However, we didn't say that we won't use our cultivation to suppress all of you in the barrier. Furthermore, Kuei Gang took a deep breath. Obviously, he was trying to distract the heaven and earth path and mess with their minds. Furthermore, Tendo? So what if you're Tendo? We've been in the Xuanzong sect for a long time. We have nothing to do with Tendo, and we're not something that Tendo can control. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. This was the first time in 10 billion years that someone had dared to contradict Tendo so bluntly. Rumble. Rumble. When Kuei Gang finished speaking, a huge eye of silence appeared in the sky and stared at Kuei Gang for a long time. At the same time, Kuei Gang fearlessly looked at the eye of the heavenly Tao. What was even more shocking was that when Kuei Gang looked at the eye of the heavenly Tao, his body was filled with battle intent. Ugh! In the eyes of everyone present, this scene was extremely daring and shocking, and it could even be said to be extremely horrifying. However, not long after the eye of the heaven Tao appeared, it vanished as if it had never appeared. Hiss! What? This scene puzzled everyone, but the truth was right in front of their eyes. It was useless to be on the same side. While everyone was still fighting against the eye of the heavenly Tao, Kuei Gang released his cultivation in an instant, and a destructive aura and pressure appeared in an instant. Hiss! Sure enough, he's really in the immortal venerable realm. Sensing the Qiankuan Tao, Jian Wudi and the others were certain of this realm. Although they didn't know what kind of power this was, they had felt this kind of aura from an immortal venerable before. It was rarely the same. They even felt that the immortal venerable before them was slightly stronger than their immortal ancestor. As soon as this thought appeared in their minds, they broke out in cold sweat. Their eyes widened as if they had sensed something bad. Humph! How dare you come to my Xuanzong sect and behave atrociously? Today, I'll let you know that my Xuanzong sect isn't a place that you can tarnish, humiliate, and bully. Seal. Four Directions Enchantment. Seal. The Four Directions enchantment opened in all directions, slowly encircling the attacking cultivators. They wanted to escape, but they didn't have the ability to fight against Kuei Gang, who was in the immortal venerable realm. In the end, they could only watch helplessly as their escape route was sealed off. Shui, listen to my command. This time, it's time to make a contribution to the sect. You will lead 16 Azuras to the town to capture their leader. Remember, you can only capture them alive and not kill them. Because Ling Yu's voice turned cold, so cold that it could freeze a person to death. Their lives are reserved for the sect leader. Do you all know that? Ling Yu's words were heard by everyone present. Following which, everyone's gazes landed on the 16 people who had not been paying attention to them. Everyone was looking forward to seeing how strong these 16 people were. Boom, boom, boom. The moment he heard Ling Yu's words, the middle-aged man called Blood One released his suppressed cultivation. In an instant, he released his peak immortal emperor cultivation and a terrifying murderous aura rushed out of his body. At the same time, Blood One appeared one after another. Blood 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the way until Blood 16, everyone unleashed the full power of their cultivation bases. As of this moment, everyone was so shocked that they almost couldn't believe their eyes. 16 of them, all of them at the peak of the immortal emperor realm. Even the 5 great sects wouldn't be able to gather such a force. Moreover, these 16 people were all at the same cultivation level. The probability of this happening was extremely rare. In fact, it had never happened before. Of course, the most frightening thing was that the aura of these 16 people were all baleful blood qi. They knew about this baleful blood qi. They couldn't even stand this kind of baleful blood qi, let alone use it for cultivation. Everyone was shocked. Of course, those from the heaven and earth path were filled with regret. However, those from Bing's side were pleasantly surprised because the time for revenge had come. Yes, we will do as you say. After hearing Ling Yu's words, the 16 Shura tribesmen unleashed their cultivation and charged into the sealed heaven enchantment. They began a massacre without any suspense. However, something even more shocking happened. The moment the 16 Shura people entered the battle, the number of Shura people started to change. At first, there were only 16 Shura people, but now, there were 32 of them. When this happened, everyone thought that they were seeing things. They rubbed their eyes, and when they looked again, there were more and more Shura people inside the heaven ceiling barrier. There were already more than 60 Shura people. At this moment, everyone no longer thought that their eyes were playing tricks on them. This was really a miraculous scene. However, they did not notice that there were more than 60 Shura clansmen. They did not notice that the extra Shura clansmen were at the peak of the peak celestial emperor realm. Chapter 424. However, Ling Yu and Kuei Gang didn't know that the moment their cultivation base erupted, the other 5 immortal venerables who were living in the 33rd heaven had already noticed the change in their cultivation base. The 33rd heaven didn't really have 33 levels. It was just a name for the space where the immortal venerables lived. No one below the immortal venerable realm could enter the 33rd heaven. Moreover, the immortal qi in the 33rd heaven was particularly pure. There was even a trace of divine qi in it. When one's cultivation base reached the immortal venerable realm, it represented the divine world. Therefore, in order to break through the immortal venerable realm and reach the divine realm, it was necessary to cultivate divine qi. However, there were also those who broke through the shackles of the immortal emperor realm and reached the divine realm without becoming an immortal venerable. However, the cultivators who broke through to the divine realm were generally those with weak strength. Many of them wanted to break through to the immortal venerable realm, but the law of the immortal world stated that a world could only produce 5 immortal venerables. Others were helpless against this law. For millions of years, there were countless cultivators who had ascended to the divine world. Only a few extremely talented cultivators had broken through to the divine realm from the immortal venerable realm. As for the rest, they had directly sensed the divine qi in the divine world from the immortal emperor realm. At this moment, in the middle of the 33rd heaven, immortal venerable Qian Kun opened his eyes after sensing the qi of Ling Yu and Kuei Gang. His eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. This was too unbelievable. Similarly, not long after he sensed the qi of immortal venerables, Tendo's qi also appeared. However, it disappeared after a short while. With this strange phenomenon, immortal venerable Qian Kun was sure that there were other immortal venerables in the immortal world that he didn't know. Daoist Qian Kun, you must have sensed it too. Just when immortal venerable Qian Kun was at a loss, a voice suddenly sounded. Immediately, immortal venerable Qian Kun sneered, but his tone was very sincere. And, that's right. Not only are there immortal venerables, but there are also 2 of them. I'm afraid the immortal world is going to be in chaos soon. Yes, Daoist Qian Kun. Since there are immortal venerables, we should go out and check them out. Otherwise, the world will forget about us. Another voice sounded. Hearing this voice, Qian Kun smiled but did not say anything. Hee, fellow cultivator Samsara, what you're talking about is exactly what I'm thinking. In that case, let's go out and see what's happening in the immortal realm. By the way, let's congratulate the 2 fellow cultivators who just came out. Okay, it's time to activate the blind XX. Now, it's more important to save the Pishio. Then, without another word, he took a step forward. In an instant, Lin Li's figure disappeared from where he stood. This was the so-called, so close yet worlds apart. This was probably the case. When Lin Rei's figure flashed again, he had already arrived at the place where he saw the Pixiu 100 years ago. Rumble. Rumble. Perhaps the Pixiu had smelled Lin Rei's aura. When Lin Rei arrived, the sleeping Pixiu had already awakened. However, the awakening of the Pixiu was earth-shattering. The entire bottom of the sea shook violently, and the undercurrent was turbulent. If Lin Rei was still the little cultivator who had not reached the celestial realm 100 years ago, he would have been swept away by the undercurrent. "Is it you, kid?" A familiar voice sounded. The tone was still so annoying and wretched. "Yes, we agreed 100 years ago. After 100 years, I will definitely come back here to save you from the seal. I will keep my word." Boom. After finishing his words, Lin Rei instantly released the cultivation of an early-stage immortal emperor. Suddenly, the moment the pressure appeared, it swept out in all directions with Lin Rei as the center. Suddenly, all the creatures within 1,000 meters were directly suppressed under Lin Rei's pressure. Some of them could not bear it and died directly. Hiss. The Pixiu took a deep breath and said, How is this possible? From the combination realm to the early-stage immortal emperor in 100 years, this kind of leap in strength was impossible even in that era. How did you do it? But now, Lin Rei could not see the real Pixiu. He could only hear its voice because Lin Rei wanted to see the appearance of the Pixiu. While being surprised, the Pixiu's tone had a hint of joy because it could go out soon. "Well, kid, no matter what your cultivation is now, hurry up and take me out. I've been here for long enough. I don't want to stay here any longer." The Pixiu's intention was also Lin Li's intention. At this time, Lin Li was very anxious. He wanted to return to the immortal world immediately because he was worried about his wife and children, worried about the disciples of the sect, worried about his brothers. Therefore, he did not waste time talking nonsense. "Lu Ying, use all your cultivation and break the seal for me." Lu Ying? Lin Rei's words puzzled the Pixiu. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared and released the aura of an immortal venerable. Boom! At this moment, all the cultivators in Kunlun Mountain, Ame Mountain, Wudong Mountain, Water Blue Planet, and all the famous mountains in the Wuxia realm were shocked beyond words after they felt this oppressive pressure. Lu Ying's method of cultivation was not only effective in Wuxia, but also in other countries in planet Aqua Blue. After feeling the pressure, all the cultivators and alien cultivators began to fly towards the place where the pressure appeared. Not only that, all the major families also sent people to search for the source of the pressure. At this moment, in the deepest part of the Pacific Ocean, Lu Ying appeared according to Lin Rei's order and released his cultivation. He held the guqin in one hand and gathered all his strength. Instantly, a powerful force rushed out of the instrument and blasted towards the seal. Bam! A loud sound was accompanied by an earthquake. The undercurrent under the sea began to sweep towards the seal crazily with Lu Ying as the center. However, on the surface of the Pacific Ocean, a huge water mark appeared instantly and rolled towards both sides. The water in the middle of the Pacific Ocean was separated. This scene was amazing, but it was not over yet. In the depths of the sea, a crack appeared on the seal of the Pixiu after Lu Ying's attack. This scene fell into Lin Rei's eyes. Regarding this, Lin Rei was shocked. One should know that Lu Ying was in existence at the peak of the immortal venerable realm. But at this moment, after using all his strength, he could only cause a crack on the seal. This showed that this seal was not ordinary. It's better to let Lu Ying attack continuously. The sooner it's done, the sooner we can save ourselves the trouble. Little Dragon didn't care about Lu Ying's actions. He only ordered Lin Rei to continue attacking. Hurry up, I still have something to do. I won't be here for long. Lin Rei's words were the highest order in Lu Ying's ears. Even if Lin Rei ordered him to kill him now, he would kill himself without hesitation. Yes. As soon as he said that, the sound of the guqin rang out. Powerful attacks rushed out from the guqin, bombarding the place where the crack had appeared before. Kacha, kacha, kacha. Suddenly, a series of attacks caused the crack on the seal to become bigger and bigger. Finally, not long after, the seal finally broke under Lu Ying's attacks. Boom, kacha. The enchantment was broken, and a black shadow rushed out from the broken enchantment in an instant, laughing loudly. Chapter 425. Ahaha. I'm finally out. The Pishio's voice was full of joy. Perhaps because it was too happy, it didn't care about Lin Rei who was next to it. The loud voice, accompanied by a huge spiritual power, began to stir up the water at the bottom of the sea. Suddenly, a huge whirlpool suddenly appeared. The water of the Pacific Ocean was very deep, but this Pishio that was still separated directly stirred up a whirlpool. Not only on the bottom of the sea, but also on the surface of the Pacific Ocean. This showed how powerful the spiritual power of the Pishio was. However, what made Lin Rei most helpless was that the whirlpool at the bottom of the sea was able to stir him up. If he didn't use his cultivation to suppress it in time, Lin Rei would have been stirred up to the surface of the sea by the power of the whirlpool at this moment. Oh, this little thing, because its spiritual power is not enough, it's still using it so recklessly. I'm afraid it won't be long before it dies. Looking at the presumptuous appearance of the Pishio, the little dragon couldn't help but worry. If he knew that the Pishio was dead, then he would be busy. What? The little dragon's words entered Lin Rei's ears, and he was suddenly shocked. Then, he quickly roared at the Pishio, Pishio, I'll give you 3 breaths of time. Quickly stop, then eat obediently, then restore your cultivation and rebuild your body. Otherwise, I have a way to release you, and of course, I have a way to suppress you again. Lin Rei disapproved of the Pishio's nonsense because he heard the little dragon's words. If the Pishio continued like this, it was undoubtedly courting death. Therefore, Lin Rei could only use threats to calm it down. He didn't want to end up dead just after rescuing the Pishio. Sure enough, as soon as Lin Rei finished speaking, the Pishio immediately quieted down, and the whirlpool stirred up by the spiritual power also became quiet and weak in an instant. Originally, for the Pishio who had just escaped, it was impossible to calm down the excitement in his heart so quickly. However, when he heard Lin Rei say that he could reseal him, this made him unable to accept it. Immediately, even if he didn't want to be quiet, he had to do it. Otherwise, one could imagine what would happen. Here. Lin Rei looked at the Pishio in front of him. It had the head of a dragon, the body of a horse, and the feet of a dragon. It was shaped like a lion, and its fur was gray. Although it looked good, it was still okay. The moment the Pishio calmed down, Lin Rei directly took out a large number of pills and the heaven and earth bell, and said to it. This is a medicinal pill for recovering your physical body, soul power, and cultivation. You have the cosmos bell with a time difference. Once you take the medicinal pill and enter, quickly recover. I believe that you will recover in no time. I still have things to do, so you can stay inside for now. With that said, without waiting for the Pishio to nod and agree, he casually threw him and the elixir into the cosmos bell and let him cultivate. What F*** king nonsense, you're just like a woman. I really don't know if all Pishio are like this or if there's only such a special case. When his ears were finally quiet, Lin Rei finally breathed a sigh of relief. Ha ha ha, good, there will be more fun in the future. Hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei rolled his eyes, but he had to admit that what it said was right. He was afraid that his ears would not have peace in the future. However, there are also benefits to being busy. The Pai Xiu clan's restriction technique can be said to be at the peak of perfection. As long as the dead pig is by your side, you have to do your best to learn the restriction technique from it. No matter if it's cheating or other methods, the restriction technique of the Pai Xiu clan must be learned. The little dragon's words reminded Lin Rei. However, it was still too early to learn the restriction technique in the current situation. Ding dong, young master, the host has completed the mission. Ding dong, mission reward, 1 Kuei 2 10,000 magical sword. Upgrading one magical weapon can upgrade one realm. The system's reward suddenly exploded in Lin Rei's mind. Instantly, Lin Rei was stunned. But fortunately, Lin Rei was not very interested in the reward at this moment. As for the 10,000 magical sword, Lin Rei had not been able to understand its mystery. Other than being able to resist celestial artifacts, it was hard to say whether it could resist divine artifacts. There was nothing else about it. As for upgrading a magic treasure by a grade, Lin Li could only think of the Cosmos Bell. He had two ideas. The first was that the Cosmos Bell could reduce the amount of time he needed to train. The second was that after upgrading, the time difference between the Cosmos Bell and the Cosmos Bell would increase again. If that was the case, then it would be much easier for him to cultivate geniuses in the future. After making the decision, Lin Rei sat cross-legged on the ground. He decided to complete the upgrade of the magical weapon before going out. Upgrade the Cosmos Bell. Lin Rei's voice was very firm and there was no doubt in it. Then, as soon as Lin Rei finished speaking, the system's voice came, as if it had been waiting for Lin Rei's answer. Ding dong, okay. Host, please wait a moment. Ding dong, upgrade the Cosmos Bell activated. At this moment, the battle in front of the Xuanzong sect in the eastern part of the Immortal Realm had ended. The 16 Asuras had suppressed everyone. The 16 Asuras, including the sect heads, emperors, and patriarchs, were all suppressed by Blood One and the other Asuras. However, the heaven and earth path was moved. They originally thought that since they were all immortal emperors, they would be able to escape from them. What the heaven and earth path did not expect was that they would be captured and suppressed by Shui Yi in less than 3 moves. This was a huge blow to the heaven and earth path. They had not expected this mysterious person to be so strong, including Jian Wudi. However, Jian Wudi was filled with regret at this moment. He had lost his son, and now, he was going to die due to age. For someone like him, this was a huge blow. His pride was completely obliterated at this moment. Looking at the people who had suppressed them earlier on being suppressed one by one, Xianzong and the others were extremely satisfied. At this moment, Xianzong and the others were extremely satisfied. At the very least, the humiliation was over. At this moment, the people who had come to watch and even wanted to pick up the scraps of the Xuanzong sect were shocked. None of them had expected that the sect, which was about to be destroyed, would come to their rescue at the last moment. Moreover, it was such a powerful person. They swore to themselves that no matter what danger the Xuanzong sect was in, they would never come again. This was because the Xuanzong sect was very dangerous. After the people who besieged Xianzong were suppressed, all the onlookers dispersed. As the saying goes, when the tree falls, the monkeys scatter. Although they were not the disciples of the sects who were suppressed, they still had their own plans. However, at this moment, even their plans were completely destroyed by the scene just now. Okay, lock them up in the Vermilion Bird and Black Tortoise halls. Remember, without my permission, no one can touch them. As for the outside, I will create a barrier so they won't be spared. As for these sinners, we'll deal with them after the sect master returns. At this moment, Ling Yu looked at everyone who had been suppressed. His eyes were extremely cold. However, when he thought of Linley, he couldn't help but warn the disciples of the profound sect. This was because he knew that if he didn't warn and pressure Linley, then these people would definitely be dismembered by 5 horses and their souls would be extracted in purgatory. Sure enough, after Ling Yu finished speaking, the people who were still unconvinced quieted down after hearing the name Lin Rei. Yes. After hearing Ling Yu's words, Xiaofan and the others immediately took the tens of thousands of people to the Vermilion Bird Hall and other temporary prisons. Soon, Xiaofan and the others disappeared from everyone's sight. At this moment, Ling Yu turned around and said to the crowd, "I know that you all hate them, but this is related to the sect after all. It's just that we have to wait for the sect master to return before making a decision. After that, we'll bury them on Heaven's Vault Mountain and rank them. They will forever be the heroes of the Xuanzong sect." These words made everyone in the Xuanzong sect submit. The dissatisfaction they had towards Ling Yu completely disappeared the moment he said these words. "Okay, I understand. I'll do it right away." Just like that, the Xuanzong sect's calamity finally came to an end. However, Lin Rei lost his wife and son in this calamity. Of course, Lin Rei, who was on planet Aqua Blue, didn't know this at all. If he did, then these sect members would no longer exist. Ding dong, congratulations to the host. The universal bell has been upgraded. Ding dong, congratulations to the host. The universal bell has been upgraded from an immortal weapon to a low-grade divine weapon. Now, the universal bell has a time difference of 11,000. 1 day outside is 1,000 days inside the universal bell. Hiss. Hearing the difference in time, Linley sucked in a cold breath. He hadn't expected that this increase in power would actually be 10 times as great as the previous one. Huh, that's enough. Look at you. Why do you still look like a country bumpkin who hasn't seen the world? You're drooling at the corner of your mouth. Hurry up and wipe it off. Just as Lin Rei was rejoicing, the little dragon's mocking voice sounded. Then, Lin Rei's hand subconsciously touched the corner of his mouth. In the end, Lin Rei was dumbfounded to find that there was no saliva at the corner of his mouth. However, the little dragon's laughter sounded and Lin Rei felt helpless. Ha ha ha, silly boy. Just because I said there was saliva, there was saliva? You're too gullible. Lin Rei didn't know how to respond to the little dragon's words. Then, he ignored the little dragon and stood up alone. The matter of the upgrade was resolved. He believed that the Pai Xiu should be able to regain its strength soon. Although it couldn't return to its peak state, he believed that it wouldn't disappoint him. Okay, I won't talk to you anymore. Let's hurry back to the dark group and pick up Big Brother, Second Brother, and C's relatives. Then, we'll prepare to return to the celestial realm. Chapter 426. After saying that, he flew up without saying another word. His speed was so fast that it was hard for people to see him clearly. He turned into a beam of light and instantly swam upward. However, the aura of the immortal emperor caused all the creatures within 1,000 miles of Lin Rei to flee quickly wherever Lin Rei flew past. However, at this moment, the middle of the Pacific Ocean was no longer a desolate place. At this moment, there were very few people here. There were thousands of people in the air, on the surrounding islands, and on the water. There were black people, white people, and yellow-skinned people here. There were also people with red eyes, blue eyes, and black eyes. These people were all cultivators. However, they cultivated different Tao. Some cultivated the Tao of demon, while others cultivated the Tao of blood. This Tao was a little bit similar to the law of blood that Lin Rei accidentally obtained. There were cultivators who cultivated the Tao of immortality, and there were cultivators who cultivated the Tao of demon. These people all dared to come when they suddenly felt a huge pressure. Father, why do you think there is such a powerful aura here? This aura seems to have never appeared in the world. However, this time, it appeared in the Pacific Ocean. Do you think it will be a threat to our Wuxia? At this time, among the people of Wuxia, a very young man said to the middle-aged man with a serious expression after feeling the huge pressure. At the same time, the people of Wuxia next to him were also people from various sects and families. At this moment, they had all come here to see the strong man. Who knows? Anyway, I'm sure that there is no such person in the world who can release such a strong pressure. Unless he is back. At this moment, the middle-aged man's made everyone present seem to be excited. Subconsciously, the people of Wuxia all pricked up their ears and listened carefully to the conversation between the father and son. Who? Father, who are you talking about? When the young man heard his father's words, he didn't understand why he didn't know who his father was talking about, so he asked curiously. However, at this moment, the middle-aged man seemed to be immersed in his memories. His face was full of emotions. Alas! Grandpa, your ancestor, told me this. He said that Big Grandpa said that he would return in 300 years. Moreover, Big Grandpa left our planet at that time. However, now that the 300-year period is approaching, I think Big Grandpa should be back. The person who spoke was Long Feng's son, Long Yi. The young man beside him was Long Ye's son, Long Huatian, Long Feng's great-grandson. What? Ancestor? Hearing the name of the person his father was talking about, doubts arose in his heart. He had never heard of this person before. SSSS. However, these words were heard by the others. At this moment, everyone began to suspect that what Long Yi said was true. They had all heard that back then, that person could barge into the Long family alone. However, not long after, he seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. However, when they heard it again, it turned out to be like this. Sigh. Maybe not. It's been 300 years. I don't know if Big Grandfather still remembers his family on this planet. At this point, Long Ye's eyes were filled with grief. Then, his body trembled uncontrollably. However, just as everyone was making wild guesses, a tsunami suddenly erupted on the surface of the sea. A man with purple hair, dressed in Taoist robes, a purple jade golden crown on his head, and a piece of 10,000-year-old warm jade on his waist appeared. He looked very handsome and was very young. The appearance of the man caused everyone to grow nervous. At the same time, Linley, who had just emerged from the water, was also shocked to see so many people appear. Damn, what's going on? Why are there so many people here? Although Lin Rei didn't understand why there were so many people here, he could see the panic and fear in their eyes. Moreover, Lin Rei realized that almost all the cultivators here seemed to be from all over the world. Humph, you still have the nerve to say that. Lu Ying is an immortal venerable. There aren't even immortal venerables here. There aren't many Mahayana realm cultivators here. Moreover, after taking a deep breath, Lin Rei really wanted to kick the little dragon's words. Moreover, TSK, this planet is so small. A casual teleportation can make this planet turn around. Tell me, how could they not feel Lu Ying's cultivation? Of course, Lin Rei could understand what he was saying. Then, he floated in the air expressionlessly and said coldly to everyone, "You all, I'm only here today to settle a personal matter. So, you all can leave." After speaking, Lin Rei wanted to turn around and fly back to Yanjing, Wuxia. However, from the corner of his eye, he saw Long Huatian among the Wuxia crowd. He was full of curiosity. And at this moment, a figure appeared in his mind. This figure looked very similar to the man he had just scanned. In addition, Linley could sense a hint of a bloodline connection between him and the man. Hee, you must be the descendant of Feng. Since you're here, I'll give you a hand. Then, in front of everyone's eyes, Lin Rei released his spiritual energy and instantly wrapped it around Long Huatian's body. With a teleportation, they disappeared on the spot. In an instant, just an instant, the two disappeared without a trace in front of everyone. Huh, it must be Grandpa, it must be Grandpa. At this moment, when Long Yi saw his son being taken away by a powerhouse, he was even more certain of the authenticity of this matter. However, Long Ye's performance shocked everyone, and there was a trace of envy in their eyes. However, at this moment, the cultivators all over the world were panicking. Of course, except for the Wuxia side, everyone else began to fly back to their own countries. This was because they had seen a powerhouse from Wuxia. This matter was very serious, so they had to report it quickly. Everyone's departure made the Wuxia people who had come here feel relieved. However, at this moment, everyone was secretly making their own plans. No, I have to tell Grandpa quickly. After waiting for so long, Grandpa should be very excited. Thinking of this, Long Yi immediately rode his sword and flew quickly toward Yanjing, Wuxia. Like a stream of light, he disappeared into the sky. In Yanjing, in front of one of the villas in Tianwan Garden, two people suddenly appeared in front of the villa without making a sound and without arousing anyone's suspicion. At this moment, there seemed to be no one in the villa. However, the moment Lin Rei appeared, the people in the villa felt the arrival of Lin Rei. Then, with a teleportation, he instantly appeared beside Lin Rei. When the people in the villa saw Lin Rei's face, they knelt on the ground with a plop and kowtowed respectfully with eyes full of respect. Tian Hu, a member of the Dark Department of the Xuanzong Sect, greets the sect leader. Looking at the person who suddenly appeared, Lin Rei was not surprised at all. This was because Lin Rei had already expected his appearance. However, Long Huatian, who was brought back by Lin Rei, was indeed very surprised at this moment. This was because people who could teleport were already considered top existences in this world, or rather, in his knowledge. However, he did not expect that there would be such a powerful existence living here. Very good. After guarding for 300 years, you really did not let me down. Here, you can cultivate to the peak of the celestial immortal realm with your own talent. At this moment, Lin Rei was very optimistic about this disciple in front of him. If he had known that Lin Rei could cultivate to the peak of the celestial immortal realm in this place where there was no celestial spiritual qi, and even the spiritual qi was shockingly scarce. Therefore, Lin Rei had to reward him well. Yes, sect leader. Although I am here, I do not dare to forget that I am a member of the Dark Department for a moment. I do not dare to forget my own cultivation for a moment. However, the spiritual qi here is really lacking. I can't cultivate to the celestial immortal realm anymore. Lin Rei understood Tian Hu's words. Well, it's okay. Your mission here is over. When we return to the celestial realm, I will let you enjoy very high treatment. From today onwards, you will be the outer sect leader of the Xuanzong sect. Tian Hu had thought about the reward, but he did not expect to be rewarded with such a high position as the outer sect leader. For a moment, his loyalty to the Xuanzong sect became even more unswerving. Yes, I will continue to work hard. However, this scene fell into the eyes of Tian Hu, not to mention the conversation between Lin Rei and Tian Hu. What celestial realm? What outer sect leader? At this moment, Long Huatian could not wrap his head around it. Well, you can get up. After saying this to Tian Hu, who was kneeling on the ground, he did not wait for the two of them. He directly pushed open the door and walked into the villa. 300 years have passed. I did not expect this place to still be so magnificent. Looking at the villa that was still the same as before, Lin Rei's heart was filled with a sense of familiarity. Yes, young master. I have never touched anything here. Moreover, I have always used my spiritual qi to protect this place so that it would not be burned away by the passage of time. Hearing Tianhu's words, Lin Rei did not say anything. He closed his eyes and enjoyed the familiar surroundings in the courtyard of the villa. After a long, long time, Lin Rei finally spoke. Kid, are you the descendant of Long Feng? That, I am. The sudden voice made Long Huatian a little overwhelmed. However, in front of such a powerful person, he was very nervous, but he still stuttered out the words. Sigh. How is Long Feng? Is he well? Lin Rei hesitated for a while, but still decided to ask about his younger brother's situation. However, Long Huatian's answer surprised Lin Rei. Great-grandfather is very well. Moreover, other than arguing with great-grandmother every day, great-grandfather spends the rest of his time cultivating. Good. As long as he is well, I am at ease. Chapter 427. The longing in Lin Rei's eyes gradually faded away. Since he had received news of his brother's safety, he did not want to break this ending. Sigh, since you're my brother's descendant and your immortal talent is not bad, I'll help you. At least you'll have the ability to protect them. Since he did not want to acknowledge his brother, it was fine to promote his descendant and let him protect the Long family. Immediately, a June-breaking elixir appeared in Lin Rei's hand. He handed it to Long Huatian and said seriously, this elixir is called June-breaking elixir. It's a kind of elixir that can increase your aptitude, cultivation, and realm. Your current realm is too low and you're only in the fasting period. If you eat it, it will bring you unexpected benefits. Hearing this, Long Huatian's eyes widened. He stared blankly at the elixir that could increase his realm. Suddenly, a look of joy appeared on his face. Moreover, he had never heard of the June-breaking elixir. Even his great-grandfather had not heard of it. However, he was reluctant to eat such a good elixir. Senior, I want to give this elixir to my father. His aptitude is better than mine. Moreover, if he eats it, he will definitely. Before Long Huatian could finish his words, Lin Rei's face turned cold and he said, you're so slow. If I say it's for you, then no one can eat it. Eat it. Then, Lin Rei, who was holding the elixir, threw it into Long Huatian's mouth. The elixir turned into a streamer and shot into Long Huatian's mouth. The elixir melted in his mouth. Before he could feel it, the elixir turned into a stream of energy and entered Long Huatian's 5 viscera and 6 bowels. Use your cultivation method to absorb the elixir and condense the gold core. Lin Rei knew about the June-breaking elixir very well. Although this June-breaking elixir was made by Lin Rei by chance, it was not inferior to a heaven-grade elixir. However, the effect of the elixir was even more overbearing. For a child who was in the fasting period, eating it was undoubtedly courting death. However, with a celestial emperor like Lin Rei by his side, it was a different story. As the saying goes, what is done cannot be undone. He felt that his body was full of domineering energy. Then, he listened to Lin Rei's order and sat down cross-legged. He began to use his family's cultivation method and began to refine the energy. From there, he circulated it in his dantian and condensed a golden core, stepping into the golden core stage. Remember, no matter how painful it is later, you must keep your mind clear. Once you fall unconscious, you may never wake up again. You may even explode and die. Remember. However, after hearing Lin Rei's words, Long Huatian became nervous for a moment. He never thought that this kind of pill would be so powerful. Of course, what Lin Rei said was not a lie, but the truth. Swish. A stream of celestial spiritual qi was released and instantly wrapped around Long Huatian, who was sitting cross-legged. At this moment, no matter how powerful the pill was, it was useless. Moreover, the celestial spiritual qi that wrapped around Long Huatian's body could slowly adjust the medicinal properties of Long Huatian's body. Then, under the operation of the cultivation method, Long Huatian could condense a golden core. Tian Hu, you stay here and watch. I have roughly calculated that one army-breaking pill can raise him from the fasting stage to the peak of the late stage of the out-of-body stage. This kind of pill is very powerful. You stay here and watch. If there is anything, try to contact me. I will go out to do something. If anyone comes to find me, remember, no matter who it is, tell them that I have left, understand? Now that the matter was settled, Lin Rei wanted to go out and bring the families of his 3 brothers to the celestial world. Yes, young master, I understand. Hearing Tian Hu's response, Lin Rei nodded and then disappeared with a teleportation. However, at this moment, in the deepest part of the Long family's villa in Beijing, a person suddenly rushed in and shouted as he walked. Grandpa, Grandpa, Grandpa is back, Grandpa is back. The person who shouted was Long Huatian's father, Long Yi, who was breaking through at this moment. After confirming that the senior was his family's ancestor, Long Yi tried his best to rush back to Beijing. He did not care about others blocking the way and broke into the place where Long Feng was in seclusion. Boom! Suddenly, a wave of pressure came out and directly froze Long Yi, who was anxiously shouting, on the spot. He could not move and could not even speak. Then, after a while, a middle-aged man walked out from inside, followed by a beautiful woman. However, his behavior was very mature, as if the two of them had been together for a long time. However, the man looked at Long Yi coldly and said in a reprimanding tone, "Humph, didn't I say that no matter who it is, the Long family is not allowed to break into this place without permission? Not only did you break in, but you also made a lot of noise here. Don't you know what the taboo is for cultivators? The taboo is to disturb others when they are cultivating." Long Yi, who was frozen by the pressure, wanted to explain, but he could not speak at all. In the end, he could only teach seriously with a wronged expression. Just like that, after nagging for a long time, the man's anger finally subsided, and the pressure was instantly withdrawn from Long Yi's body. Plop. Perhaps it was because he had been frozen for a long time, and one of his legs was frozen, he lost his balance. The moment the pressure was withdrawn, Long Yi fell to the ground. Humph, you're not serious at all. You're already the head of the family, yet you're still so careless. Looks like it's time to teach your father a lesson. How did he become like this? If Long Ye's father heard these words, he would definitely want to cry, but no tears would come out. However, Long Yi, who was sitting on the ground, did not listen to these words at all. Instead, he hurriedly stood up and said to the man, "Great-grandfather, that powerhouse who suddenly appeared seems to be the big brother you mentioned, my great-grandfather." Boom! The moment Long Yi said that Lin Rei had returned, the man's mind went completely blank. He stood there in a daze, filled with longing. Drip. Unknowingly, a drop of tear flowed out of the man's eye and dripped onto the ground. After a long time, the man finally regained his composure. At this moment, the man was even more impatient than Long Yi. You said that my big brother is back. Is that true? Is it true? The great-grandfather that Long Yi mentioned was Lin Rei's younger brother, Long Feng. The woman beside him was his wife, Shui Manqing, Shui Moner's younger sister. Yes, it should be confirmed. At that time, in the Pacific Ocean. In order to make sure that the person she saw was Linley, Long Yi recounted everything that she had seen in the Pacific Ocean in detail. Just like that, the old ancestor seemed to have sensed the bloodline power in Tian, so he took Tian away. After he finished telling the story, Long Feng's face was covered in tears. However, it was not because of sadness, but because of joy. At this moment, Long Feng had a smile on his face like a happy child. No, I have to hurry and tell mother. She has been waiting for Big Brother for 300 years. She has always felt that she owed Big Brother, so she stayed in the temple all these years and refused to come out. Now that Big Brother is back, I believe mother will be very happy. After saying that, Long Feng walked into the depths of the temple without saying a word. After a while, he arrived at the door of a room. He looked slightly nervous and without any hesitation, he knocked on the door. Knock knock knock. Knock knock knock. The knocking on the door woke the person in the room up. Then, a woman's voice sounded. The voice sounded desolate and sorrowful. Who is it? Upon hearing this voice, Long Feng, who was originally excited and smiling, burst into tears. He said with a trembling voice, Mother. It's Feng. I'm here to tell you a piece of good news. Big Brother is back. My Big Brother is back. The moment Long Feng finished speaking, there was the sound of something falling on the ground. Not long after, the door in front of him was opened from the inside. Suddenly, Long Feng was even more excited. If he had known earlier, this door had been closed for many years. Now, it was finally open. A haggard but elegant middle-aged woman walked out of the room. She grabbed Long Feng's arm cautiously and excitedly. Her hands were slightly trembling as she asked, You said, is what you said true? Your Big Brother is really back. Well, yes. Just now, Long Yi said that Big Brother brought Long Huatian back to Yanjing. I think Big Brother should be in the villa in Tianwan Garden at this moment. Whoosh! The moment Long Feng said the news, before he could sense what had happened, there was already no one in front of him. Hee, as expected, Big Brother is the best medicine. Mother's illness has finally been cured. However, if he goes, then will Big Brother. He was the father that Lin Rei refused to admit. He was a cultivator, so it was normal for him to live for 100 years. Sigh, forget it. Since it's already like this, why should I care so much? Since he's going, why don't we all go and use family affection to make Big Brother dare to move? As he spoke, his divine sense instantly covered the entire Long family's villa. However, his voice appeared in the minds of his descendants. All of you, go to Tianwan Garden. Your ancestor, my Big Brother, is back. Go and pay your respects to him. Call your descendants. If anyone dares to not go, they will be expelled from the Long family and will never be a member of the Long family. As soon as he finished speaking, Long Feng teleported with his aura and disappeared from the villa. However, at this moment, Linley, who was hovering in the air above the Murong family home, didn't know that news of his return had already spread. Furthermore, the people he didn't want to disturb had all arrived at Heavenly Bay Garden and were waiting for him. Sigh, 100 years have passed. I don't know if Second Brother's family is still alive in this world. Without hesitation, Lin Rei did not need to hide anymore since he was here. He simply landed in the central area of the Murong family from the sky. Chapter 428. Whoosh! The moment Lin Rei appeared in the middle of the Murong family, two cultivators at the middle stage of the body integration stage appeared beside Lin Rei at the same time. Humph, kid, you're a human. Don't you know that this is the Murong family's territory? Lin Rei did not care about the two people who had appeared. However, their eyes were filled with disdain and arrogance. In an instant, Lin Rei was speechless. Hee, two ignorant juniors dare to put on airs in front of me. Really? Looking at the two of them, Lin Rei did not want to say anything. After all, he had come here to take away his second brother, Morongyu's parents and sister. Lin Rei did not want to waste more time. Therefore, when he saw the two of them putting on airs, he did not argue and only shook his head. I'm here to find Morongyu's parents from 300 years ago. If it's convenient, please tell me. If it's not convenient, then I'll look for them myself. Lin Rei was a proud person. In front of this group of ants, Lin Rei had unconsciously looked down on them. In Lin Rei's opinion, what he had said just now was nothing. However, the two people in front of him were secretly looking down on them. They did not put them in their eyes at all. In an instant, the two of them lost their temper. Hee, what a joke. If someone casually came here like you, then wouldn't the Morong family become a market? Looking at the two of them, Lin Rei already knew that it was impossible to get information about his second brother's parents from these two. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying pressure was emitted from Lin Rei's body. To them, Lin Rei had only used the pressure of a peak earth immortal. If he had used the pressure of a heaven immortal, this group of people would have been suppressed to death. To Lin Rei, he only wanted to find an old friend. Moreover, this was his brother's family. He had no reason to cause trouble here. The pressure exploded. The two people who had their eyes above their heads were now so scared that they couldn't speak. Moreover, they were suppressed to the ground by Lin Rei's pressure. They couldn't get up at all, let alone speak. I'm Lin Rei. Please don't be offended by my sudden visit. Today, I'm here to take Morongyu's family away. If I've offended you, I'm here to apologize. Lin Rei's voice instantly exploded in the ears of the Morong family, whether it was the servants or the direct descendants of the Morong family, whether it was those who were in isolated cultivation or not. In an instant, everyone rushed over happily from where the pressure was. However, at this moment, in a secret room in the depths of the Morong family, a man and a woman smiled excitedly when they heard Lin Rei's voice. Then, they restrained their cultivation, stood up and pushed open the door to their isolated cultivation. They quickly walked towards Lin Rei's location. Slowly, more and more people began to gather in the central area of the Morong clan. Men and women, young and old, all of them had arrived. When they saw Lin Li in the center, their eyes were filled with awe and veneration. As for the young girls, their eyes were filled with envy, worship and even a trace of love. This made Lin Rei shake his head helplessly. He ignored them and quietly waited for the arrival of his second brother's parents. After a while, a couple arrived in front of Lin Rei. Lin Rei was a person. He had met Lin Rei's parents before. At this moment, his second brother's parents didn't look any different from 300 years ago. Other than the vicissitudes of life in their eyes, nothing else had changed. Uncle, auntie, I haven't seen you for 300 years. You're still as elegant as ever. Lin Rei's words instantly made the two of them feel overwhelmed by favor from their superior. However, after thinking about it, they felt relieved. Sigh. What graceful bearing, they've all become old farts. We're all family, there's no need for such pleasantries. However, as she spoke, his second brother's mother seemed to have something to say but hesitated. It was as if she had something she wanted to ask Lin Rei. Hee, don't worry, auntie. My second brother is doing very well. He's doing very well. Initially, I had wanted to bring them back with me but things had been rushed and I didn't have time to receive them. So, I'm the only one who has returned. Oh. When she heard Lin Rei's words, his second brother's mother's face clearly showed a hint of disappointment. However, she quickly adjusted herself. Oh, by the way, where's my younger sister? Lin Rei's words stunned the two of them. Then, they told him about their daughter's situation. My younger sister is doing very well now. Ever since you, left, she joined the Kunlun sect in order to catch up with you, cultivation. She has only returned a few times in the past 300 years. The last time she came back, she was already in the ascension stage. More than 50 years have passed. As for her current situation, we really don't know. When they heard about their daughter's situation, their faces were full of pride. Okay. Uncle, Auntie, wait for me to pick you up. Before I leave, I'll make a trip to the Kunlun sect to pick up my younger sister. If she cultivates here, she can at most reach the Mahayana stage. It'll be very difficult for her to advance any further. After saying that, Lin Rei didn't waste any more words. He immediately shot out a stream of immortal spiritual energy and wrapped it around his second brother's parents. After he released his divine sense and locked onto the Su family, he teleported away and disappeared. However, before he left, he lowered his head and looked at the two people who had been disrespectful to him. Lin Rei ignored them. After all, those who didn't know were innocent. However, they couldn't escape punishment. A stream of immortal spiritual energy shot into their bodies, causing them to suffer heart-wrenching pain every day. However, there were also benefits. If the two of them could refine the numerous streams of immortal spiritual energy that he had left behind, he believed that they could go to the cultivation world, or even the immortal world in the future. After Lin Rei disappeared, the Murong family returned to normal. After that, Lin Rei went to the Su family and the Wang family. Their parents were still alive. Before Lin Rei left 300 years ago, he had opened up their meridians and wished them success in their cultivation. He had also given them cultivation methods and spirit stones. Therefore, in these 300 years, as long as they didn't meet any strong cultivators and die, there wouldn't be any danger. At this time, although Wang Hong's family couldn't be compared to his own family, it was still a first-class life. They lived in a small villa and had a company. Everything was pretty good. Auntie, Uncle, let's go. Boss wanted to bring you to the immortal world for a long time. However, due to various reasons, I'm here now. Seeing the reluctance of his boss's parents, Lin Rei didn't want to waste any more time. If he wasted any more time here, the sects in the immortal world would be in more danger. Let's go. After saying that, the two of them seemed to have used up all their strength. Lin Rei was very happy because the matter was settled. He didn't say anything else. So what if they were reluctant to leave? He believed that once they reached the immortal world, they wouldn't have any thoughts about the mortal world. After that, immortal Qi wrapped around his parents and left. However, Lin Rei didn't go home because he wanted to pick up Murong Yu's sister. Lin Rei's divine sense covered the entire aqua blue planet. Moreover, the entire aqua blue planet wasn't as big as Lin Rei's Xuanzong sect. Soon, his divine sense found a girl who was living the same life as his second brother. After locking onto her, Lin Rei teleported to the girl's side. As for the Kunlun sect's protective array, Lin Rei could destroy it with a sneeze. Lin Rei's appearance made Murong Shui aware. She immediately opened her eyes. The moment she saw Lin Rei, Murong Shui was stunned. Her eyes were filled with disbelief as she asked in a trembling voice, "Brother? Brother Lei, is that you? Brother Lei?" Murong Shui was no stranger to him at all. This was because there was an awkward incident in the past. Murong Shui had once confessed to Lin Rei. However, at that time, Lin Rei was still young, so he didn't accept her. But to Murong Shui, it was her first love, a secret love. She still loved Lin Li even to this day. The moment she saw Lin Rei again, the love in Murong Shui's heart couldn't help but burst out. She threw herself into Lin Rei's arms without caring about anything else. Moreover, Murong Shui didn't seem to notice the parents behind Lin Rei at all. However, at this moment, Murong Shui's parents didn't care. They still watched this scene with a smile on their faces and let it happen. For a moment, Lin Rei felt helpless. Then, he hurriedly coughed twice, pushed Murong Shui away, and pointed behind him. Ah! Murong Shui let out a scream. Perhaps because she was too close to Lin Rei hurriedly covered his ears the moment Murong Shui screamed. Huh, Shui, it's okay. Go on, go on. After hearing her father's teasing, Murong Shui's face suddenly turned red from neck to head. She couldn't wait to find a hole to hide in. Ha ha ha. Looking at their daughters, the parents of the three families laughed heartily at the same time. However, Lin Rei was miserable. He was afraid that there would be more such things in the future. In order to relieve the embarrassment, and more importantly, to prevent himself from being in such an embarrassing situation, Lin Rei hurriedly changed the topic. Well, Shui, this time I'm here to take you to another place to cultivate. Do you agree? In fact, Lin Rei knew that this sentence was obviously nonsense. However, he still asked, because this was the basic respect. I'm willing. There was no hesitation at all. Moreover, the previous embarrassing scene disappeared without a trace. Well, then, let's go. Before Murong Shui could speak, he wrapped her up and teleported away from the Kunlun sect. He came and went without a trace. No one in the Kunlun sect noticed Lin Rei's trace. At this moment, in the villa of Tianwan Garden in Yanjing, Long Feng, Long Rou, and Ouyang Jing's descendants had arrived early. However, when they arrived, they found that Lin Rei was not there. There were only the junior Long Hua Tian, who was improving his cultivation, and Tian Hu, whom they had known for a long time. However, they heard from Tian Hu that Lin Rei had left. However, Ouyang Jing didn't believe Tian Hu's words at all, because he knew that his son hadn't left, because Tian Hu hadn't left. Sure enough, Lin Rei had expected this scene, but he didn't expect it to be so fast. After leaving the Kunlun sect, Lin Rei locked the location of his home with his divine sense and teleported to the door of the villa. However, the moment he appeared, everyone in the villa sensed it. Chapter 429. The moment he sensed his son's return, Ouyang Jing got up and rushed to the door of the villa. He wanted to see his son as soon as possible. Long Feng and Long Rou also followed closely behind Ouyang Jing. The excitement on their faces was indescribable. However, Lin Rei sensed everything in the villa the moment he arrived at the door. He didn't try to avoid them. Anyway, it was already like this. Uncles, aunties, and Shui, you can go in and rest for a while. After I'm done with the things here, I'll bring you to see eldest brother, second brother, and see. Okay, then we'll go in first. They all knew some things about Linli. After all, they were all people of that era. How could they not know? Of course, the parents of the eldest, Wang Hong, did not know. But for two of the 5 great clans, they naturally knew the whole story. The moment they finished speaking, the door opened with a creak. Hearing the sound, Lin Rei turned around. In an instant, he was stunned on the spot. Ouyang Jing's face appeared in front of Lin Rei's eyes. This figure was the one he wanted to see the most in his heart for 300 years. He originally had a lot to say, but now that he saw him, he didn't say a word. Murong Shui and the others were tactful. The moment they saw this scene, they nodded to him and then walked past Ouyang Jing into the villa. It was quiet. Only Lin Rei and his family were left at the door. The scene was very quiet. No one came to disturb them. Big brother, you're back at noon." After a long time, the quiet scene was finally broken by Long Feng's voice. The moment he spoke, Long Feng's whole body went into Lin Rei's arms. He was like a child who saw his own adult, seeking protection. It wasn't just Long Feng. Long Ro was the same. They hadn't seen each other for 300 years. After they disappeared, it was Lin Rei who took care of them. Now that she saw her big brother again, how could she not be excited? Following Long Feng's actions, Long Ro also threw herself into Lin Rei's embrace, and immediately started sobbing like a little girl. Looking at his younger siblings, Lin Li felt as if he had returned to the time before he had become a cultivator and before he had met Xiaolong. Seeing that his younger siblings were still as reliant on him as before, Lin Li was very happy. All right. How old are you? You must be 300 years old. Why are you still crying like a child? If your juniors see you like this, it would be strange if they don't look for you. Brother. Hearing his big brother's words, Long Feng did not mind, but Long Ro was not willing. After all, a girl's age was the biggest taboo for a girl. All right, get up. Looking at his sister, Lin Rei didn't say anything. He quickly pushed the two of them away and went to Ouyang Jing. With a plop, Lin Rei directly fell to the ground without saying anything. His eyes were filled with guilt. "Mother, I am back." These few words, Lin Rei seemed to have exhausted all his strength. After saying these words, Lin Rei's whole body seemed to have been drained of strength, and he went limp for a moment. However, he immediately recovered. Without speaking, Lin Rei, who was kneeling on the ground, looked at his mother who didn't speak. He didn't dare to get up and just stayed on the ground like this. After a long time, Ouyang Jing's voice entered Lin Rei's ears. Her tone was so gentle and so kind. "Get up." After hearing their mother's words, the siblings immediately came to Lin Rei's side and helped Lin Rei up with one arm on each side. "You still know to come back. It's been almost 300 years. I thought you had forgotten me and your siblings. If your brother's descendant didn't see you today and say that he felt a connection with you, I really wouldn't know that you're back. Tell me, do you not want to see us now that you're back?" Hearing his mother's words, Lin Rei blushed with shame. Needless to say, if they didn't come, Lin Rei wouldn't necessarily see them. Because their lives were the safest. Although they couldn't live as long as the heavens, at least they could live a stable life. They didn't have to live on the edge of life and death every day like he did. They didn't have to live a life where they didn't know when they would die. Lin Rei didn't want his family to live like this. Perhaps they had their own way of living, but Lin Rei was very unwilling in his heart. However, now it seemed that everything was ruined. At this moment, Lin Rei was very regretful. If he had known, he wouldn't have taken Long Huatian away. "Mother, actually Lin Rei, who was just about to explain, was suddenly choked by his mother's words. "I know you don't want us to live your life, but we want to live together as a family. Moreover, you said that when we meet again after 100 years, you will take us with you and reunite as a family. I believe you haven't forgotten this sentence." Listening to his mother's explanation, Lin Rei was completely convinced. Moreover, Lin Rei had decided to take them to the immortal realm. Okay, mother. Since you've decided, then I have nothing to say. In that case, come with me later. I'll take you away from here, but don't regret it when the time comes. There's no telling when you'll die there, and I can't always be by your side. The warning before leaving still had to be said. After all, this concerned their lives. Lin Rei didn't want to force it. Big brother, it's been 300 years. What haven't we seen? Don't worry. Hearing their big brother's promise, Long Feng and Long Ro laughed. They felt that their big brother's words were a little superfluous. 300 years, even a person who went out of the cultivation world knew that this was a dog-eat-dog world, not to mention that they had been practicing for 300 years. Hearing the way his younger brothers and sisters addressed him, he really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In the immortal realm, at his age, he was at most an insensible child, and at his age, no one was willing to waste their time in this place. However, at this moment, there was a group of juniors in front of him. Suddenly, Lin Rei was filled with emotion. Well, all of you, get up. What? The moment when everyone stood up, suddenly, there was a fluctuation of spiritual power behind him. Then, Lin Rei turned around and looked at Long Huatian, who was improving his cultivation, with a mysterious smile on his face. Oh, I didn't expect this little guy's talent to be so strong. In such a short time, he has improved his cultivation to this stage. At this time, Long Huatian, who was improving his cultivation, had the help of Lin Rei's army-breaking pill. At this moment, he had broken the army-breaking pill and formed the nascent soul, and then the nascent soul was adjusted to the out-of-body stage. Originally, Long Huatian thought that he would only be able to reach the out-of-body stage, but he didn't expect that just now, with the help of the army-breaking pill, Long Huatian's cultivation would be forcefully promoted to the early stage of the separating spirit stage. Well, since you have broken through to this stage, don't bite off more than you can chew. This will only cause trouble for your future cultivation. Although Long Huatian had reached this stage, Lin Rei had designated him to only be in the out-of-body stage. However, at this moment, he had exceeded the designated stage, which would inevitably hinder his future cultivation. He had to completely consolidate his cultivation before he could continue to improve. Otherwise, if his Taoist foundation was not stable, it would be like building a house. If the foundation was not stable, it would collapse and everyone would die. Bringing 1 or 10 people was the same. There was no difference. Now that everything had been settled, there was no need for Linley to stay here any longer. Alright, the only thing you can do is relax your body. I'll put you into the bell of heaven and earth. Maybe you won't come out for a long time. But don't worry, as soon as we reach the destination, I'll release you immediately. This was Lin Rei's notice, not a preparation for them. Immediately, Lin Rei took out the bell of heaven and earth. His divine sense instantly enveloped all of them. With a thought, he put them all into the bell of heaven and earth. However, there was only one person that Lin Rei didn't put into the bell of heaven and earth. That was his mother, Ouyang Jing. When he was about to let his mother into the bell of heaven and earth, he saw his mother glancing outside the door with a worried look. Then, Lin Rei thought of something. At this moment, only the two of them were left in the villa. In order to avoid wasting time, Lin Rei didn't beat around the bush. He directly said what was on Ouyang Jing's mind. Do you want to take that person with you too? The straightforward question made Ouyang Jing nod his head without hiding anything. Yes, I can't bear to leave him here alone. I want you to take him with you. Is that okay? Logically speaking, a son shouldn't refuse his mother's request and hesitate. However, for Lin Rei, who didn't have a father to accompany him since he was young and was bullied by others, he was very sensitive to the word father. Although he had refused 300 years ago, for Lin Rei, who had been a father for more than 300 years, he hesitated. He didn't have the courage to refuse as decisively as he did 300 years ago. Instead, he hesitated. At this moment, Lin Rei was hesitating whether to take that person with him. I know that the knot in your heart hasn't been untied in the past 300 years. However, what I want to say is that he really loves you and cares about you very much. He loves me even more. On account of this, can you take him with you? His mother's words were like a 10,000-pound hammer, hammering down on Lin Li's hesitant heart again and again. Slowly, Lin Rui's heart was pried open by his mother's words. All right, I'll take him with me. Upon hearing that his son had agreed to his request, Ouyang Jing was extremely excited. However, when he heard Lin Li's words, he lost half of his initial excitement. However, you have to remember that I'm only doing this because he loves you and you love him. That's all. As for the rest, I won't agree. Besides, even if we reach our destination, I won't change my mind because of this. At this point, Lin Rui didn't give his mother any chance to speak. He wrapped her with his consciousness and dragged her into the heaven and earth bell. As for that person, since he had already promised his mother, he naturally had to keep his word. Immediately, his consciousness probed in the direction that his mother was looking at. Not far from the villa, the man that he would recognize even if he turned into ashes appeared within the range of his consciousness. He didn't even look at him. Without saying a word, he wrapped him with his consciousness and brought him into the heaven and earth bell. Now that everything had been settled, there was nothing left for him to linger on. Hehe, are you ready to leave? The little dragon's voice sounded. Lin Rui nodded and replied, yes, quickly tell me. Is there any way to return to the immortal world as soon as possible? I'm willing to pay any price. Without any nonsense, the matter here was settled. However, the matter of the immortal world was still unknown. Although 2 immortal venerables were sent back to guard the sect, Lin Rui felt as if he had lost something these days. His heart was empty. Lin Rui was very worried about the situation in the immortal world. Therefore, he was willing to pay any price. However, the prerequisite was that he had to return to the immortal world as soon as possible. After speaking, Lin Rui was silent for a long time. However, the little dragon didn't make any sound and didn't give any answer. Then, just as Lin Rui was about to scold the little dragon, suddenly, the little dragon's voice sounded in his ears. Hehe, actually, the price isn't that high. This thing is from the store. Even if I wanted to give you a discount, the system wouldn't agree. It would have been better if it didn't speak. Once it spoke, it was a bunch of nonsense. Suddenly, Lin Rui's annoyed mood exploded. Okay. Cut the nonsense and get to the point. Okay. Hearing Lin Rui's request, the little dragon quickly changed the topic to the main point. This thing is called the boundary-breaking shuttle. This thing can be said to be one of a kind. Just tell me how much it is or what the price is. Don't bother with these empty words. Lin Rui couldn't care less about the little dragon's empty words. He only wanted to know how much it was. How boring. Looking at the boring Lin Rui, the little dragon's smile disappeared and it instantly said righteously, this thing is good stuff. 300,000 exchange points, not a single cent less. Moreover, it only takes 30 days to reach the immortal world from here, 30 days. Lin Rui was tempted by the number of days mentioned by the little dragon because this was something that could allow him to reach the immortal world as soon as possible. However, Lin Rui wasn't optimistic about the price. After all, it was 300,000 exchange points. Moreover, exchange points were much more valuable than spiritual energy. Even if he had hundreds of millions of spiritual stones, he wouldn't be able to exchange for 300,000 exchange points. How about it? It's up to you whether to use it or not. Hearing the little dragon's words, the originally hesitant Lin Rui instantly made up his mind. Okay, but I'll owe you 300,000 first. When I go back and break into a forbidden area and gather 300,000, I'll give it to you. What do you think? After saying so much, there was only one word in the little dragon's eyes, credit. After thinking for a long time, the little dragon nodded and agreed. Okay, in that case, let's go. Before Lin Ray could react, Lin Ray was taken out of planet Aqua Blue in an instant by the boundary-breaking shuttle. At this moment, the little dragon's voice sounded in the system. Hee, I've struck it big this time. The exchange points of 150,000 have been raised to 300,000. Hee. At this moment, the little dragon's face had the look of a profiteer. If Lin Ray were here to hear his words, he would definitely point at the little dragon's nose and curse him. Hee, little dragon, enough is enough. If you lack exchange points to recover your energy, you can tell the host. I believe he'll definitely help you if he knows. After all, you've been through so much together. An electronically synthesized voice sounded, as if its words had poked the little dragon's heart. Instantly, a guilty look appeared on its face. Hee, forget it. It's better this way. This way, he won't be in danger and I can recover my cultivation. Sigh, okay, do as you please. After listening to the little dragon's words, the system didn't say anything more. It didn't want to say anything more and disappeared immediately. At this moment, if Lin Ray were here, he would definitely be stunned. He would definitely be surprised that the system and the little dragon would team up to trick him. However, Lin Ray would probably never know. This was because the little dragon didn't care at all. Just as the system said, if Lin Ray knew, he would definitely help the little dragon. It was a simple sentence, but in Jian Wudi's eyes, it was like a sharp knife stabbing into his heart. It was extremely painful. His body began to tremble slightly, and tears began to well up in his eyes. Alas! Jian Wudi let out a sigh. His body and mind were filled with complicated feelings of self-blame and guilt. His eyes were filled with disappointment. Hee, don't come to see me. I wanted to kill you back then. Besides, you're now the head of the law enforcement department. Aren't you afraid of being criticized by others? At this time, Jian Wudi knew that Jian Feng's actions would definitely attract criticism. Although he wanted to kill Jian Feng before, he didn't want to do so at this moment. Hee, future criticism, do you think I care about these things? Look at what you've become. Tell me, why do you want to cultivate in the Xuanzong sect? Didn't you feel the mystery and vastness of the Xuanzong sect when you first came here? Isn't this enough to stop your greed? In an instant, after hearing his father's words, Jian Feng couldn't help crying. His words were full of helplessness and doubts. He didn't understand what was in it for Jian Feng to do this. Jian Feng knew that he was here, but he still did this. He didn't understand where his father, who taught him to be grateful and to distinguish right from wrong, had gone. However, his father, whose eyes were full of greed and killing intent, was so strange to him. Not only Jian Wudi, but Jian Feng also began to criticize the people of other sects, empires, and families as if he had gone crazy. Tell me, you're all people who can make the whole immortal realm tremble with a stomp of your feet. Why don't you just stay in your own territory? Why do you have to come here? Jian Feng, who was just reprimanding Jian Feng, suddenly started to roar. His voice was loud enough to alarm the guards outside. But surprisingly, they didn't come in. It was as if they hadn't heard him and were indifferent. Perhaps it was because he had finally vented his anger after such a long time. Jian Feng felt very tired at this moment. Alright, you guys can stay here. The sect master should be back soon. Your lives are probably going to end soon. Enjoy your lives for the next few days. After venting his anger, Jian Feng didn't want to talk to them anymore. Then, as soon as Lin Ray finished speaking, Jian Wudi and the others were stunned. They had thought that they were not fated to hear the word death in this life. However, when they heard the word death, they felt fear. They felt that the god of death really existed and was very close to them. Humph, death, ha ha ha. At this moment, the heaven and earth path, who was with Jian Wudi, was also the culprit behind the entire incident. After hearing Jian Feng's words, it was unknown what he was thinking, but he suddenly burst out laughing. Moreover, the voice of heaven and earth seemed to be slightly disdainful. The heaven and earth path's laughter puzzled the passers-by. They didn't understand why they dared to laugh so presumptuously when they were already prisoners and on the chopping block. What are you laughing at? Do you still think you have a chance to live? You killed the wife and son of our sect leader. Do you think you can still live? When Jian Feng saw the heaven and earth path's expression, he was also puzzled. Then, his exhaustion faded away in an instant. Unconsciously, he blurted out his doubts. He, heaven and earth immortal venerable has received the news and is coming here. There are also several other immortal venerables. They should be here soon. Do you think the two celestial masters of your Xuanzong sect are comparable to the strength of the celestial masters of 5 directions? Hearing this, everyone was puzzled, including Jian Wudi. He was also a descendant of one of the immortal venerables, but he had never heard of this news. However, looking at the solemn expression on the face of the heaven and earth path, Jian Wudi felt that there might be a turning point in this matter. However, when Jian Feng heard the heaven and earth path's words, he laughed even more presumptuously and arrogantly than before. At the same time, he looked at the heaven and earth path as if he was looking at a fool. Celestial masters of 5 directions, then you have to take a look. Apart from the 3 major sects, the other 2 major sects have yet to take action. Therefore, you only have 3 celestial masters at most. Moreover, do you really think that our Xuanzong sect only has 2 immortal venerables? After saying that, Jian Feng gave everyone a mysterious smile and quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. However, when they heard Jian Feng's words, they froze on the spot. Their eyes were wide open and filled with disbelief. Their hearts were filled with shock. At this moment, they were all starting to doubt the truth of what Stir had said just now. If it were any other sect, they would be sure that it was fake. However, to the profound sect, a sect that they were afraid of, there was a 70% chance that it was true. However, not only were the people of the heaven and earth path shocked, but even Stirring, who had already walked out, was also shocked. When he thought of the arrival of the celestial masters of 5 directions, Jian Feng involuntarily quickened his pace and rushed towards Tianshan main palace. Since the death of Jin Ling and Jin En, the entire Xuanzong sect had fallen under the jurisdiction of Ling Yu. Stirring exerted all his strength and quickly arrived outside the main palace. Without notifying anyone, he directly pushed the door open and entered the main palace. At this moment, Ling Yu, who was standing in the middle of the main palace, turned around and looked at Jian Feng with a puzzled expression. He wanted an explanation from Jian Feng. I went to see my father just now, but I didn't expect to hear the heaven and earth path say that the celestial masters of 5 directions had already come out from the 33rd heaven when they were defeated. They even said that they would be back soon. What should we do? Ling Yu's eyes widened as soon as he heard this, but he immediately relaxed. Jian Feng was a little confused by Ling Yu's reaction. He should have known that he was talking about the celestial masters of 5 directions, not the 5 celestial emperors. However, after a long time, Ling Yu still stood there indifferently. He looked up into the distance, thinking about something. I know, and they're already here. What, they're already here? After a long time, Ling Yu did not say anything. However, when he suddenly said something, Jian Feng was stunned and cried out in surprise. All right, none of you should go up later. Their cultivation is not something that you can resist now. If you want to become an expert, you must first learn how to endure. Whoosh! After hearing Ling Yu's explanation, just as Jian Feng was about to speak, he suddenly realized that Ling Yu had disappeared from the main palace in an instant, right before his eyes. Sigh. It seems that my cultivation is still not enough. I have to work harder in the future. At this moment, if Jian Feng's words were heard by everyone, they would definitely hurl abuse at him. He should have known that a few hundred years ago, he was just a cultivator in the Tai realm. Only a few years had passed, and he had already reached the peak of the immortal Emperor realm. He was only one step away from breaking through to the Celestial Emperor realm. However, he still felt that he was not working hard enough. Chapter 432. However, Ling Yu, who had disappeared from Tianshan Palace, had already arrived at the entrance of the Vault of Heaven. He stood proudly in the sky, looking at the immortal venerables who had arrived from the 33rd layer of heaven. His peak late immortal venerable chi was fully unleashed the moment he saw the 5 immortal venerables, rushing towards the 5 immortal venerables in an overwhelming manner. Hiss! The 5 immortal venerables drew in a breath of cold air the instant Ling Yu's pressure came crashing down. Their bodies trembled, and their eyes were filled with disbelief as they looked at this immortal venerable who had suddenly appeared. They were inwardly horrified. Initially, they thought that even if an immortal venerable had appeared, he would only be an early or mid-immortal venerable. But now, they were completely wrong. How was this an early or mid-immortal venerable? This Motherf Ker's cultivation base was more than twice as strong as their own. Their original arrogant temperament had now become very amiable. The arrogance in their eyes had long disappeared, replaced by respect, vigilance, and probing. After all, the strong were respected. They still understood this principle. The sudden appearance of this immortal venerable who was stronger than all of them had given them a heavy blow. Swoosh in the blink of an eye, a burly figure appeared in front of them. His late immortal venerable cultivation base vanished from their sight without any concealment. Hiss! Their expressions were the same as before, but this time, they were even more shocked because they were especially shocked. At this moment, they were thinking about the background of this sect. How strong was the foundation of this sect that had 2 immortal venerables? At the same time, their hearts were filled with fear. After they entered the immortal world, they had heard a lot of topics that interested the 3 immortal venerables. One of them was the alliance to attack Xian Sect. Originally, they were proud of their juniors, but now, they were wrong. They were even cursing these idiots in their hearts for making decisions without permission. Humph! Bastard, aren't you courting death by attacking the sect without investigating thoroughly? Moreover, you have to bring me along with you. Don't ever let me see you again. At this moment, the 3 immortal venerables were cursing the juniors in their hearts. As for the 2 immortal venerables who didn't participate in the battle, they were very glad that their juniors had made the right choice. At the same time, they felt very gratified. Fellow cultivators, may I know why you have come to my Xuanzong sect? Our sect leader is not here, so please go back. Without giving them a chance to speak, Ling Yu made an inviting gesture with his poker face. The pressure he emitted was even stronger than before. A sense of oppression made these immortal venerables, who had been living like princes, feel a little uncomfortable. However, they didn't dare to say anything when they saw the 2 experts who were stronger than them. Even if they were angry, they would only vent their anger in their hearts, which made them feel very aggrieved. This. Fellow Taoist, we sense the birth of a celestial prime, so we came to congratulate you. At this moment, Central Universe Immortal Venerable said to Ling Yu gently with a smile on his face. Immediately, everyone nodded their heads in agreement. Their eyes were still filled with respect. Looking at these people, Ling Yu really wanted to go crazy and kill them one by one. However, he knew that he and Kuei Gang weren't enough to resist the 5 immortal venerables. Therefore, he could only endure and pray that Lin Rei would come back as soon as possible. However, while Ling Yu could tolerate it, Keegan couldn't. His voice was filled with anger and killing intent as he said to everyone, I was waiting for you to come out. If you didn't come, I would have gone looking for you." As soon as these words came out, the faces of the 5 immortal venerables changed. They were shocked and knew that they were going to be punished. However, the 5 immortal venerables didn't know whether to laugh or cry. They had just come out and didn't know what was going on. Even if they were asked, they wouldn't know. At this moment, the 3 immortal venerables among the 5 immortal venerables hated their descendants for starting this war. In order to avoid being implicated, the 3 immortal venerables hurriedly put on a flattering smile and asked with puzzlement in their eyes. Fellow Taoist, we just came out from the 33rd heaven. As soon as we came out, we rushed here. We don't know anything else. May I know what you are referring to?" In short, they refused to admit their mistakes. They didn't want to provoke these 2 immortal venerables who had come out of nowhere and might have a backup plan for the sake of those ignorant juniors. This was because it wasn't worth it. If their sect leader died, they could still choose from their juniors. However, their own lives were very precious. Your juniors besieged the Xuanzong sect and killed tens of thousands of our disciples. Most importantly, your juniors killed the wife and son of our sect leader. Tell me, how should we deal with this?" Kuigang's words moved them. At the same time, they were even more certain that they couldn't admit to this matter even if they were beaten to death. Otherwise, this feud would be formed. Moreover, they knew that those who were captured would definitely die because they had done something unforgivable. The wind was still blowing. The 5 immortal venerables' emotions were scorching hot and complicated. They didn't expect such a thing to happen when they weren't around. However, at this moment, at the intersection of the central and eastern parts of the immortal realm, a spatial crack appeared with a swoosh. Heavenly Dipper Chi swept out in an instant, causing the surrounding space to tremble. Whoosh! A huge shuttle rushed out of the spatial crack and reached the heaven stage in an instant. The spatial crack had already healed as if it had never happened. However, all the living creatures in the surrounding space suffered a calamity. All the flowers, plants, and trees were destroyed by the Heavenly Dipper Chi that rushed out. Moreover, because they were invaded by the Heavenly Dipper Chi, it was estimated that no flowers or trees would grow again for a long time. At this moment, in the floating shuttle in the sky, a person was walking. The man's hair was slightly purple and he was dressed in a dignified yet not elegant manner. Coupled with a piece of 10,000-year-old warm jade as an accessory and a dragon crown on his head, he looked very extraordinary. In particular, his eyes were like stars and his pair of sword-like eyebrows made him look valiant and formidable. He really made people's eyes light up. I, Lin Rei, have finally returned to the immortal realm. This man was Lin Rei, who had returned from planet Aqua Blue in the realm-breaking shuttle. He had been through a lot in the past 30 days in the spatial crack. However, in any case, the realm-breaking shuttle was fast enough. Otherwise, he might not have been able to return. Looking down at the scenery below, coupled with the unique immortal chi of the immortal realm, Lin Rei suddenly felt that compared to the lower realm, it was as if the lower realm was thousands of miles away. Swoosh! Suddenly, Lin Rei's thoughts moved. In an instant, a group of people appeared on the originally empty shuttle in the blink of an eye. Wow, what a big bird! Phew! What a dense spiritual chi! I feel that if I cultivate here, I can break through the peak of the Mahayana stage and break through to the immortal realm very quickly. At this moment, the people who appeared began to talk to themselves. However, at this moment, when the cultivators who were flying on the birds heard their words, they immediately looked at them with disdain. However, when they saw Lin Rei at the front of the shuttle, they glared at him and immediately prepared to escape on the giant bird. "Ha, ha, come back here." At this moment, Lin Rei wanted to ask someone if anything had happened while he was away. Of course, especially the situation in the Xuanzong sect. As he spoke, the immortal qi left his hand and turned into a chain, directly binding the giant bird and the person sitting on it. Plop. When the gutless passerby saw the chain on his body, he directly knelt on the ground in front of Lin Rei, kowtowing and begging for mercy. "Senior, I was wrong, just now I shouldn't have." Looking at the man's appearance, Lin Rei felt helpless, especially when he saw his relatives looking at him suspiciously. For a moment, Lin Rei was a little uncomfortable. You hurry up and get up. I'm not going to kill you. I just want to ask if anything has happened in the immortal realm recently." When the kneeling man heard that he was not going to take his life, he immediately stood up with tears of gratitude and told him everything he knew. "There really is. Didn't the Xuanzong sect appear not long ago? However, they seem to be too flamboyant, which caused the dissatisfaction of several big sects, empires, and families, so, slowly, the man began to tell everything that had happened after he left. At this moment, the man did not know what to say and what not to say. In any case, he was scared witless, so he revealed everything. Listening to the man's story, Lin Rei's face instantly drooped. His eyes were very cold, and his killing intent was also very painful. His angry tiger eyes became colder and colder. Lin Rei's strange behavior made the people around him tremble involuntarily. Sometimes, when the passers-by who were talking about things saw Lin Rei's strange behavior, their voices became lower and lower until finally, there was no sound at all. Finally, the story was finished. "You, go away." The cold voice made everyone's heart feel cold. The passers-by who were released hurriedly flew away on the giant bird as if they had just taken a trip to the underworld. Lin Rei was alone at the front of the shuttle. He looked at the sky and clenched his hands. Very good, very good. They dared to touch my sect. It seems that knocking the mountain to scare the tiger is useless. Instead, they were suppressed by the tiger. Lin Rei thought of what the man said just now. The Xuanzong sect had lost tens of thousands of people in this battle, and this made his heart ache. Chapter 433. Don't worry. I'll avenge you. At this moment, Lin Rei could almost imagine the scene of his disciples being killed. That scene made Lin Rei's heart ache. Tears flowed out of his eyes. As the saying went, a man doesn't cry easily unless he's deeply hurt. At this moment, Lin Rei's heart was broken. His eyes were filled with hatred and his expression was ferocious. Coupled with his murderous aura, Ouyang Jing and the others who were with him were shocked. We haven't seen each other for many years. I didn't expect Big Brother's cultivation to have reached such a level. Just your murderous aura alone is enough to make me breathless. At this moment, Long Feng bent over and looked up at his big brother whom he hadn't seen for many years. His eyes were filled with respect and admiration. It wasn't just Long Feng. Everyone who was brought up from planet Aqua Blue was in the same state. They bent over and raised their heads. Their eyes were filled with shock as they stared at Lin Rei, who was filled with murderous aura. After a long time, this state continued for a long time. Finally, Long Yi couldn't take it anymore and fell to the ground. Dong! The sound woke Lin Rei up. When he saw them, Lin Rei's eyes were filled with guilt. I'm sorry. I couldn't control myself just now. When he said this, his murderous aura was restrained. However, at this moment, Lin Rei was like a sharp sword that hadn't been unsheathed. Cold light radiated in all directions. If he moved, someone would die. They could understand Lin Rei's state very well, so they didn't mind. They nodded and didn't say anything. Realm-breaking shuttle, let me go. At this moment, Lin Rei didn't want to wait here for a moment longer. He was worried that someone would go and cause trouble. He was also worried about his wife and children. According to the speed of the realm-breaking shuttle, they would be able to reach Tianqiong Mountain in less than an hour. Boundless amounts of immortal essence energy flowed into the world-piercing shuttle. With a swoosh sound, Lin Li and the others, who were on the world-piercing shuttle, instantly disappeared, transforming into a ray of light that disappeared into the horizon. At this moment, at the entrance of Tianqiong Mountain, smoke filled the air, giving off a stifling feeling. Humph, since you're here, then let's bury you here with my sect mistress. The impulsive Keegan didn't care about what other people thought. After all, once he decided on something, no one could change his mind. Of course, other than Lin Rei. This scene happened so suddenly that no one expected it. Even Ling Yu didn't expect that Kuei-gong would make a move on Lin Fan. However, they were still on his side, so he couldn't just stand by and watch his companions fall into a desperate situation without doing anything. The two of you, we won't pursue the matter if the sects of your juniors didn't participate. However, they will have to pay the price for their juniors. If a child doesn't teach properly, it's the fault of the father. If a teacher isn't strict enough, it's the laziness of the teacher. They can't shirk the responsibility. When the Sky Tyrant Immortal Exalted and the Reincarnation Immortal Exalted heard Ling Yu's words, they understood that he did not want them to interfere. And, don't worry. We won't interfere in your feud. Even if Ling Yu didn't say it, they would still do it. After all, who would fight an immortal venerable who was stronger than them? Wasn't that just courting death? As the saying goes, it's better to have one more friend than one more enemy. Having said that, the two of them retreated to a place where the battle couldn't reach. They sat in the air and leisurely watched the beginning of the battle. As for Ling Yu, after seeing that the Sky Tyrant Immortal Exalted and Reincarnation Immortal Exalted were pushed aside, he joined the battle. Humph, do you really think I'm afraid of you? Originally, I wanted to let this go, but since you're so shameless, let's fight. At this moment, Heaven and Earth Immortal Exalted said when he saw that this battle was inevitable. However, his tone was so shameless. This was what it meant to be shameless. He was obviously in the wrong, but he still boasted in such a righteous manner. A battle between immortal venerables wasn't a battle between immortal emperors and immortal monarchs. A battle between immortal venerables was destructive. He. A heavenly halberd appeared in Ling Yu's hand. Endless immortal chi instantly poured into the heavenly halberd. Poisonous dragon stab. In an instant, the heavenly halberd in Ling Yu's hand seemed to have come alive. In an instant, tens of thousands of shadows appeared in the air and rushed towards Heaven and Earth Immortal Exalted. In an instant, tens of thousands of shadows of the heavenly halberd appeared in front of Heaven and Earth Immortal Exalted. Ha! Everything happened in an instant. However, Heaven and Earth Immortal Exalted was a real immortal venerable. Seeing that the fatal attack was close at hand, Heaven and Earth Immortal Exalted drew out his weapon and slashed at the incoming attack. Bam! A loud sound rang out between the two of them. In an instant, the aftermath of the attack pushed them 2 meters away before it stopped. Heh, I didn't expect that your strength isn't bad either. Ling Yu was slightly shocked when he saw that Heaven and Earth Immortal Exalted was evenly matched with his attack. However, he stopped probing and released all of his cultivation in an instant. Boom! The cultivation of an immortal venerable was the pinnacle of the immortal world. No one could withstand the might of an immortal venerable, let alone the disciples of the Xuanzong sect and the passers-by who were watching the battle at the entrance of the Xuanzong sect. After feeling Ling Yu's vigorous and continuous cultivation, all of their bodies directly lay on the ground. Other than the immortal emperor who could barely stand up, the others had been firmly pressed to the ground by Ling Yu's pressure. Boom! The pressure also pressed towards heaven and earth immortal exalted. For a late immortal venerable like him, this kind of pressure still had some effect on him. After all, although their cultivation was similar, there was still a difference. However, on the other side, the battle between Kuei Gang and the other two immortal venerables was getting heated. Kuei Gang himself was a warmonger. Today, it was the perfect time for him to show off his skills and fight to his heart's content. At this moment, Kuei Gang, Ao Tian and immortal venerable Hao Chen were in a state of temporary suppression. None of them could make things difficult for each other. Seeing that Kuei Gang wasn't in any danger, Ling Yu felt relieved and began to take this battle seriously. Whoosh! However, just as Ling Yu was about to show off his skills and suppress heaven and earth immortal venerable Hao Chen, a stream of light suddenly appeared in the distance, shooting towards the Xuanzong sect. In a flash, a figure appeared in front of Ling Yu. His whole body trembled slightly, and he knelt down on the ground and said to the sky, "I, Ling Yu, pay my respects to Sect Master." When Kuei Gang saw Ling Yu's action, he immediately withdrew from the battle with Ao Tian and came to Ling Yu's side in an instant. He also knelt down on the ground and said respectfully, "I, Kuei Gang, pay my respects to Sect Master." Their actions stunned everyone on the scene, including Ba Tian and immortal venerable Hao Chen who were watching the battle from a distance. When they heard Ling Yu mention Sect Master, the two of them looked into the distance with curiosity. They also wanted to see what kind of person the Sect Master of the Xuanzong sect was, since he had two immortal venerables under his command. Whoosh! The realm-breaking shuttle that was flying over from the distant sky instantly stopped in the air above the entrance to the sky dome. Linley, who was in the lead, looked at the two people kneeling on the ground and hurriedly said to them, "Get up." The young man's action shocked the five immortal venerables. They had thought that the sect master of the Xuanzong sect would be a middle-aged or old man, but the one in front of them was obviously a young man, and his cultivation base was only in the immortal emperor realm. Yes. Hearing Lin Rei's order, the two of them stood up and stood respectfully behind Lin Rei. "Tell me, what's the current situation of the sect? Are my wife and child all right? Are they hurt? Have the people who besieged the sect been caught?" Looking at Ling Yu, Lin Rei couldn't help but ask about the situation of his wife and child, as well as the situation of the sect. However, when he saw Ling Yu in a daze, Lin Rei's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad premonition. "Sect Master, Madam. Madam is dead." Boom! Linley, who had been hoping for a fluke, heard the news of his wife's death. His mind went blank, and he fell backwards. Fortunately, Ling Yu, who was behind him, reacted quickly and caught Lin Rei. However, when he saw the state of his sect master, he felt sad. Similarly, when Long Feng heard the news of Jin Ling's death, his heart also turned cold. His eyes were empty as he stood rooted to the ground. After a long time, a cold voice sounded. Who killed Ling Er? Who is so cruel?" At this moment, Lin Rei regained his senses. His eyes were filled with bloodlust. He couldn't hold back his killing intent any longer. His entire person was like a demon from hell, sending chills down one's spine. When the five celestial sovereigns saw this scene from afar, they couldn't help but take a step back because of Lin Rei's expression. However, the five celestial sovereigns quickly returned to their original positions. However, the shock in their hearts didn't dissipate for a long time. "It's the Heaven and Earth Sect, Sword Sect, Proud Heaven Empire, Karakoram Immortal Sect, by family. They besieged the Xuanzong sect. In the end, the sect master of the Heaven and Earth sect, shamelessly captured Madam as a hostage. Young master wanted to save Madam, but he was shot in the chest by Heaven and Earth sect and died. Gotcha. Like a bolt of lightning, this information penetrated into Lin Rei's mind. In an instant, Lin Rei was stunned. His eyes were bloodshot. His blood-red eyes caused everyone to be shocked. At this moment, Linley's heart was filled with pain. His wife was still alive, and he still had a son. But who would have thought that his son would also die? After hearing these two pieces of news, Linley's heart was filled with so much pain that he was about to suffocate. Kill them. Kill all the sects, empires, families, and their ancestors who participated in this. Kill them all. I want them to be buried with my wife. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.